Canada on the shoulder. So
All right.
it's a jersey with I can't find my my Canucks hat that's got the Canada flags all over it. So many apologies, but there's a Canada flag on the old Flames jersey, so that's as close as we get today. Because you're already wearing Team Canada, so it would look weird if we were both wearing Team Canada.
Would not look weird.
It looked bizarre.
Would not.
Yeah, that's the Olympic one. I ordered that from Sport Check. I think yours was like $20. I think the women's was $20, $15, something like that.
Okay.
No, Kitty.
Okay, there we go.
The Bruins are treating this offseason like both Bergeron and Krejci are retiring. They're not going to be able to replace Bergeron. You just can't.
See a lot of good morning.
Morning, everybody.
And happy Canada Day.
Come on, Shadow. Over here. Over here. Stop blaring the pixel. Come over here.
See, is there a realistic chance of Karlsson getting traded, or is it just overblown rumors?
LeBron's reporting that there are various teams that have been talking about Karlsson. Seattle's name comes up a lot. Carolina's name comes up a lot. Toronto's name's been thrown out there too. We'll see. It's going to be tough because, again, if San Jose doesn't want to do any retaining, that's going to make it really difficult.
Couture rumored to Preds by Pagnotta. Thoughts? My eyes are.
If they're gonna do a full on rebuild, if they're gonna commit to it, then this is the time when you would want to move Couture. He's still productive. You can still absorb his cap hit if you're another team, and it'll help the San Jose Sharks move on and get more future assets. Is my guess.
Any chance the Flyers move Sanheim? It moved. Where'd it go? Sanheim's albatross of a contract.
I think they'd like to. I don't think it happens.
Could you do an NHL versus European jersey comparison video at some point?
Yeah, I can at some point, sure. Okay, here.
Which Team Canada? Mine is from the Olympics.
The turkey butt. Yeah, I can't unsee that. Will
the Flyers blow it up this year and bottom out as they take for next year? And who's the first overall for next year?
Celebrini, I think, is the number one pick for next year. He's not considered to be generational, though. I don't think there's going to be very many teams tanking for a shot at him because there's others that could end up being the number one pick. It's not seen as 100% that he's going to be the number one guy to go next year. Here, bud.
Oh, I see.
Sorry.
What tea am I drinking? This one has a hazelnut tea, and this one has an iced cinnamon tea.
There you go. All right. So I gave treats to the rabbit and to the cats.
Thoughts on the new 30th anniversary duck jersey?
It's beautiful. Yay! Fantastic. I'm going to order one for myself and one for her.
They did the purple. Woo!
Yep.
Sometimes they listen to me. They have made a few jerseys that I've been saying they should do. So,
like the word marks.
No,
you want to see?
I never say jerseys. That they should do word mark jerseys. I really don't like word marks. They're nope. Shannon is absolutely the animal whisperer. I'm sure that's a joke, but Shannon is totally the animal whisperer.
I knew that the rabbit wanted to come in.
Him and Adelaide. Adelaide has it too.
I knew the rabbit wanted to come in yesterday, or 2 days ago. We made eye contact through the glass. She was out in the enclosure up on her hind feet like this, looking at me. And I was like, I think she wants to come in. So I opened the gate and she just walked out. She walked to the back door and was like, all right, I'm ready to go in now. I opened the back door. She went in, done. And it was just because I made eye contact with her outside.
Make me happy. Tell me DeBrincat signs with the Preds.
Well, see, DeBrincat, apparently there are some new teams that are in on him. Bruce Garriock reporting that this morning, so it's possible that Nashville's in on him. The one thing is that trading out Duchesne and Johansson guts their depth down the middle. I wonder if they're going to look to add a center. DeBrincat's a winger.
This kitty right here, right there, that's Azrael. Then we've got Bear is right there on the floor. Cinnabon
Shadow's
is right
back
on
here.
the floor. Shadow's right. Oh, there,
Maple-
see, you can see Shadow for a
Maple
second.
was in
Maple,
here.
she's right there.
Yeah.
She's in front of me. Oh, what's with the camera?
Wow, what did you do?
Wow. It's looking like I'm looking. What's going on?
I think it's the board.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's the board.
Ta-da.
Yet another reason you have to watch for glare and you have to turn the board the right way.
When does Ottawa fire Pierre?
They would have to not make the playoffs this coming season for Pierre Dorian to be out of work.
Do you think Buffalo will add a right defense or goaltending to solidify the problem area?
I've seen Buffalo's likely to be quiet today, but we know that once free agency gets rolling at 9:00 my time, noon Eastern, anything goes. So I'll keep Twitter loaded up. But from what I've heard, Buffalo's probably going to be pretty quiet today. There are going to be overpayments today. Absolutely going to be overpayments today.
What right defense does Detroit get?
I think with Detroit, I mean, there's some good defensemen out there. I don't know that you necessarily fix your defense at free agency. They may be looking to see just that continued development of their young players.
Happy Dominion Day. I hear Wheeler to Toronto, 1 year, $3.5 million. What do you think? Love the show. Amazing.
I mean, Wheeler on a 1 year deal is not bad. Absolutely not a bad move to add Blake Wheeler. Toronto definitely needs to figure things out. Adding Wheeler and Reeves, that's a decision. We'll see how it goes. It makes them significantly older.
I see a few people saying Twitter's not cooperating.
No, it's not working very well right now. I know that.
Wheeler to Dallas. How do you feel about that?
No, he's indicated he'd like to go to the Eastern Conference. So it's very unlikely he's going to be in the West.
Okay.
Do.
Where's Jonathan Quick going?
Rangers. The word is it's the Rangers he's going to head to. That's what Kevin Weeks broke yesterday, and Weeks has a pretty good track record.
Martin Jones to Vancouver.
With Jones, he had a good win-loss record last year, but his save percentage was kind of a nightmare. Vancouver, as a backup, I would almost approve of them going with Seelovs as the backup this year rather than signing Jones. They don't have a lot of cap space either.
My mom says there's a lot of people. I told her last night there would be a lot of people on this one.
Of course there is.
Canes need scoring. New Jersey taking the next step. Rangers expectations with Lavi, Caps, and Pens train bounce back. Islanders older. Blue Jackets been aggressive. Feel like Metro is really unpredictable this year.
Yeah, the Metro is going to be pretty stacked, but the Atlantic's going to be pretty good too. Like I think this coming season could be one of the most competitive that we've ever seen. There's going to be some pretty good teams that are going to miss the playoffs.
Yes, Twitter is having issues.
Yep, I can't load tweets right now, so we're good.
Good morning. Would love to see a video about teams that won the off season and how they actually did during the season.
Well, there was New Jersey that won it a few years ago and didn't make the playoffs. Ottawa won it last summer, didn't make the playoffs. We like to have the knee-jerk reaction of, well, this team won, this won, this is going to be great. And then when the regular season gets started, it may not turn out that way. So I know I'm going to change the way I do my season previews too, because it is that wildly unpredictable. I'll probably just use a letter grade for teams and just avoid the trying to predict who's going to finish where.
People are guessing Wheeler to all the teams.
Yes.
I see so many guesses for all the teams.
Yes.
I'm not.
Just remember, he wants to sign in the East.
All of these.
He has a connection with Paul Maurice. Maurice played him a ton in Winnipeg, so I would not be surprised to see him end up in Florida. Oliver Ekman-Larsson's headed to Florida. It's a 1 year deal for him at $2.25 million. I could see them adding another veteran.
Lots of guesses. I hope Anaheim gets someone useful.
I don't know how active Anaheim's going to be. I almost think Anaheim might be better to sit this out and then wait for somebody to go, wait a minute, I have a cap problem, and then take a contract on from somebody else and add a prospect or a draft pick at the same time.
Good morning. Happy Canada Day.
Greetings on Canada Day.
Yeah, lots of guessing for lots of players to lots of teams.
Yep. Every year.
That's what
Every
today is.
The beauty of,
So what about
the
this
free
team?
agent frenzy.
I've seen a few people ask what you think Vegas will do.
Well, Vegas, in keeping Barbashev and Hill, they don't have a ton of cap space to do much else. So Vegas is probably going to be relatively quiet unless they sign guys, veteran guys for cheap contracts.
More people talking about Twitter being down. How long will the stream be?
A couple hours, probably.
I sent the kids off. They're doing Canada Day stuff. I had other people drive them downtown. The parade starts at 11, and then.
Did you want to go to the parade?
I'm okay missing the parade. The parade is the longest parade ever. The fun
you
stuff.
You could at least go at the end when Santa Claus comes through, waving at all the kids, throwing Canada flags at them.
That's not. You don't.
Santa Claus wears like a Canada themed jacket.
Well, he is Canadian.
Right? So he wears a Canada. That's why he's got the red and white jacket in the first place.
That's it. But the fun stuff starts at 1 o'clock.
He was born in Moose Jaw. It's an interesting story about the birth of Santa Claus. So there's a star that only appears. It's once every 735 days, I think it is. But they realized that that doesn't work on a calendar. So he just took over Christmas and started delivering presents that day. Because that day just worked. Because we were already giving each other
moving
presents.
On, Shannon.
So he sort of latched onto that and went, I can give you presents too. I'm talking about the Canadian Santa, not the European one.
Okay.
He lives in Denmark or something.
That Boston has not signed Swayman.
I'm not worried about Swayman. I can't see him getting an offer sheet. I don't know that he's eligible for an offer sheet. I would think probably. I don't have any concerns.
Santa totally lives in Canada. That his address is in Canada. If you want to write Santa a letter, we have the address,
and it's free. You don't have to affix any postage in Canada. You can send him a letter. Sometimes he's kind of ornery when he answers, but
he does answer. It's great. The kids thought that was fantastic when they were little, and we don't do Santa.
All right. So last year we had 19 signings in the first hour. The year before it was 33.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see Vancouver sign on defense and at forward?
I would love if Vancouver could make a trade somehow for Pesce. That's been the rumor that they're after Pesce. I don't know how you're going to make that work. I don't know how Carolina would even consider trading Pesce, but that would be the ultimate for the Canucks.
Okay.
This is where the panic hits because they can't check Twitter. So right now you've got everybody with their phones. And I guarantee it's refresh. Because there's LeBron. He's got the look of Twitter's not working. Drager as well.
You watching TSN or Sportsnet?
I usually go back and forth. There's Chris Johnston. He's going back and forth, it looks like, with his phone and Twitter. And then Jeff Merrick is on here.
Is Carolina wanting to trade Pesce to make a move for Carlson?
The understanding with Pesce has been they don't have a contract with him beyond 2024. So they don't want to risk losing him for nothing. So if they can't come to an agreement, if he's looking for more money or more term than they're willing to do, then he's going to go somewhere.
In past drafts, how many Tkachuks would the Canucks have took if the Canucks could have took Tkachuk?
I really wish they'd taken Matthew in 2016. I've actually got a board made up because yesterday there was a debate about the Canucks and their drafting of Ulevy, and I wanted to get into that, so I've got a whole board made up on that.
Would Vegas re-sign Blueger?
The indication would seem to be he's likely going to go somewhere else. I've seen some speculation about whether or not Pittsburgh might try to bring him back. We'll see. Fantilli signed a 3-year entry-level contract with the Blue Jackets, so I guess Fantilli could be with the team this fall.
Where is Gudas going? He would be perfect in Buffalo.
They were talking about Gudas, how he's going to be in demand because of the run to the final. He's one of those that I'm looking at and thinking might get overpaid today. There may be some overpayments for free agents today.
Oh, yep. Lars is saying if a super chat is missed, message him. My phone is not behaving, so it's really hard for me to check my phone, but I will try. I do have it in front of me. That does not mean.
Can you log into
your
your account on my phone?
Oh, maybe. Hold on. But then it still does
the two-factor authority. So yeah.
See, did I already miss one?
That's what.
Oh, love all you guys do. Can the Kings afford anyone now? Goalie moves.
They're definitely going to have to make a move in the net. They have to add a goaltender.
My phone.
They may have to go the trade route, but they have to get a goaltender.
I got it to turn on.
Okay, now just don't touch it.
I know. Okay, don't turn off phone.
Is kind of haunted at this point.
My phone's done.
Yeah,
Matthew Tkachuk is going to join his bro in Ottawa in a trade.
Yeah, we're not going to see that.
Patreon member for a while. Much love from Buffalo, New York, and a Sabres fan too. I think some of our own issues are rooted on our lack of experienced defensive defensemen. Who could you see us realistically trading for or signing?
One name that's going to be out there today is Kyle Burroughs. I think he's underrated. I know the Canucks blue line gets torn apart a lot for how bad it was or whatever. But I think Burroughs is a good defensive third pairing guy. I could see him being a solid addition there. Luke Schenn has signed a 3-year, $8.25 million contract with the Preds. That's a lot of money for Luke Schenn. I like Luke Schenn. That is an expensive contract for Luke Schenn. There are some defensive defensemen that are quite happy right now with that contract.
As Lars just said, do not write in all caps. I will not read it. Writing in caps is yelling. I don't respond to people that yell at me. So there's that. Stars keeping Sutter. Do you think they try and get Domi back or another forward since they have a log jam on defense?
I'd be kind of surprised if Domi doesn't go back to Chicago. I was okay with Domi in Dallas, but I did think he took some penalties at a bad time. And I think he's probably going to be too expensive for Dallas. I would be very surprised if he doesn't end up back in Chicago because he really enjoyed playing for Chicago last year.
We're already being told that we're blocking the board.
That's good. That's good. It's about
that will
about
happen.
Time.
I cannot read the chat if I'm not in front of the computer. I can barely read the chat as it is. So, is Quick confirmed? Anyone you want to see the Canucks target?
I'm not enamored with this free agent class as having a fix necessarily for the Canucks. I've seen people say, well, what about Ryan O'Reilly? Well, yeah, at the right price, sure. But I don't know that with their cap situation, they could afford that. Even with the buyout of Oliver Ekman-Larsson, there's not a ton of cap space out there.
Are you 156 years old today? There you go.
Personally, just me. I mean, if you look back to the War of 1812,
Canada.
So the War of 1812, you know, what's interesting with that is that Canada was actually founded in 1756, but we didn't want to let the British know because we were very polite about it. So we didn't actually try for Confederation until a long time after that. But we were a country well before Britain knew because we didn't want to let them know. So your phone's possessed again.
It really is. Yeah, my phone has some serious issues. Could we see Gudis or Dumba to Detroit, or do you think they'll stand pat with Lindstrom? Thanks for all you do, hockey guy and gal.
So the speculated value for Dumba is in the $4 million a year range. On a short-term contract, that could be perfect for Detroit, but if it ends up coming with a bunch of term, I don't know. One thing we may see today is a lot more short-term deals because the salary cap's going up by a lot. But Dumba's not coming off a really strong year either, so there's definitely some risk to that, whoever signs
him. Where do you think Shattenkirk goes?
You know, Shattenkirk's a veteran. He's going to go a place where he feels like he has a chance to win another championship. I could see Tampa Bay. I could see him going back to the Rangers on a cheap deal. I could see Carolina making a play again because it'd be a cheap deal to make. He'll be one to watch, but I don't think it'll be a lot of money for Shattenkirk at this point.
Which of Columbus's wingers would you like to see on a line with Fantilli? Thank you for all you both do. Make a trip to Columbus, please.
Laine and Gaudreau is the dream, right? So that first year, I don't know that Columbus. I mean, they have some good wingers. There's some speculation about whether or not Nyquist might re-sign there. Nyquist had a better year than I think people realize too. It's going to be interesting to see with Fantilli if they start him at the lower end of the team, like playing fourth line, third line, or if they give him that first line spot. With his projection, I wouldn't blame them for giving him first line chance.
How active do you think my wings will be today? Sounds like Stevie is up to something. Happy Canada Day from a fellow dual citizen. I don't know what that says.
I do think that Detroit's going to be busy. I think it'll probably be a couple of bigger names, with some good cap hit, but I don't think he's going to add like 4 or 5 different guys. It'll probably be 1 or 2. But he's pretty smart about it. So I think when we look at cap hits after Yzerman's will probably be just fine.
Do you think the Canes signed Tarasenko?
He's one of the more talented goal scorers on the market. The one thing you have to watch with Tarasenko, his goal scoring's been trending down because I don't think he's been the same since the injuries. So you have to temper your expectations. It might be better for Carolina to go with the younger option as well.
Lots of happy Canada Day. Oh, I hope everybody has something fun for Canada Day. Canada Day is fun. There's always lots of fun stuff to do. It is.
It can be, kind of. Jonathan Bernier is one of the top 10 available goaltenders. He hasn't played in a year and a half.
Not fair. A dual citizen can see fireworks shows in less than a week.
Where did Ronta go?
You don't have to be a dual citizen to go down to the States and watch them blowing everything up. But I don't go down to the States for 4th of July. Nope. I did it 1 year. Pass. Nope. You don't have to be a dual citizen to go down and watch their fireworks. I know a lot of people do go down there because there's fireworks everywhere in the States. Are you surprised we haven't seen Ullmark get moved this week?
No. I think that the idea of moving Ullmark is a fan-driven idea. I don't think the Bruins have any reason to move him. Okay, Connor Brown's in Edmonton.
Any viable centers, fit and cost out there for Minnesota?
The cost is going to be the big problem, right? We'll see how this market starts out. If we see the values really, really high, it's going to price Guerin out quickly.
Mr. THG guy, be the hockey guy. When will Johnny, is that Yarmo?
Yarmo
get to play at Canucks and why is it not now?
From what I've seen, it looks like his game's progressing, but I don't know if he's going to be an NHL level defenseman. That's the one question mark with Yarmo. I'd love to see it because with that name, he belongs in the National Hockey League, but I don't know. I don't think he's going to make it this year. I'll put it that way. I don't think he ends up in the top 6 this year for Vancouver.
Happy Canada Day. Do you think the Sens will trade for a goalie or sign one? If so, who do you think they'll target?
There's a lot of goaltenders out there. I would imagine they're calling Freddie Anderson. I would imagine they're calling a lot of guys right now, but yeah, it's going to be tricky. Ryan O'Reilly goes to Nashville.
Canada Day in California is pretty quiet. Not a parade in sight. Well, that's disappointing, but it is pretty early. Parades usually start at 11. Right now is when you go to the pancake breakfasts. So just pick which pancake breakfast you want to go to. Lots to choose from.
So O'Reilly, it's 4 years, $18 million in total. So that's $4.5 million a year. The 4 years is where it would trip me up a bit as a GM.
Happy Canada Day. Do you think the Sens will trade for a goalie?
You asked me that one.
Oh, I did. I thought I missed one though. There it is. Will Killorn re-sign? Is there a reason to wait for free agency to accept the offer? Also, do you guys like
Avenged Sevenfold?
Oh, Avenged Sevenfold is fantastic.
They're still trying to sign him and keep him. The thought process is Killorn wants to stay. They want to re-sign him, but the cap. I mean, now he's a free agent. Anybody could be calling him. It really becomes a crapshoot once you hit July 1st.
Okay. You guys need a Canada tattoo.
I don't have any tattoos.
A lot of people. I think that might be one of the most common tattoos I see are Canadian tattoos. I think so.
Yeah, I don't have any. I've never been passionate enough about anything to decide I want it on my body for the rest of my life.
That's what I've always told people. But I thought that'd be cool. Do I want it forever? Probably.
Because I always thought, like a Rammstein logo would look fun, but why? Like, why would I want to do that?
Canada Day parade canceled in Montreal due to air quality. That's disappointing.
A lot of parades are being canceled, and a lot of the fireworks shows as well because of smoke back east.
That's disappointing.
So Ryan Reeves is officially a Leaf. It is 3 years. It is $1.35 million per season. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. Just making sure I'm not missing stuff.
Good job, sweetie. That's why I keep you around.
Oh, is it?
Well, you are the neighbor lady. Okay, so it's a 1 year, $1.5 million extension for Ronta with the Canes. I'll put it up there. I don't like putting
how much money is there in jerseys? Is jerseys roughly? Like,
I don't estimate my jerseys.
Like the jerseys in our house, or what do you think the Rangers could realistically get in return for Lafreniere, considering the slow start to his career?
According to David Pagnotta, he is not on the market. The Rangers have no intention of trading Lafreniere. Lafreniere would generate a lot of interest. He would also probably generate some offers that just would not be worth giving up that potential. He is a very young player. It's easy to forget how young he is. He absolutely has a ton of potential, and I think the Rangers would be crazy to trade him right now.
Somebody said get a THG tattoo. You could get a tattoo of yourself on yourself. Do the one that's your face.
When I'm older,
you could tattoo your face on you.
When I'm older, that might make some sense because I might forget who I am.
So if lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Hearing Cole and is it Susie to the Canucks. Thoughts?
Yeah, they've been tied to the Canucks for a while. I don't know how that's going to go. We'll see. Matt Nieto goes to the Penguins. So we've already got, there's some signings, but yeah. First, what they're talking about there is Toronto and Reeves.
What do you think is realistic? Trade return for Erik Karlsson with 50% retention, first rounder plus a grade prospect.
I don't think you get a first rounder for Karlsson. You look at what guys were traded for over the last week. I don't think you get a first rounder for Karlsson. You might get a really top-notch prospect. You might get a second or third round pick. I don't know that he gets you a first. And the Sharks are not willing to retain half.
80% of tattoos are bad. I highly doubt 80% of people think their tattoos are bad. I doubt that. How much do you think Compher gets, and why is it going to be an overpay?
Compher, I would think probably in the $3.5-4 million a year range. Compher's a good forward. I think he's more comfortable as the third line center than he is as a first or second line center. But yeah, so these signings are coming in really fast. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep up with all of them. And I'm already thinking, I'll just leave it.
Who does Calgary move or cut to get under the cap?
Who does who trade to get over under the cap?
Calgary.
I mean, they're working the phones. There's a lot of action around them. I don't think it gets resolved today. I think Hannafin's gone. I think Hannafin's going to get traded this summer. I think they're going to do everything they can to re-sign Lindholm. But if they don't re-sign Lindholm, they probably trade him this summer.
Flyers fan and recent subscriber, found you during the playoffs. Wanted to say thanks for everything you do.
No problem.
Vancouver should get Todd Tyler Bertuzzi, LOL.
I can't ever see a Bertuzzi playing in Vancouver. No. I can't see it.
Somebody's asking why the Flames.
Because it has Canada on the shoulder. It has a Canadian flag.
What are your thoughts on, lots of sports?
You take games overseas because it increases the value of your organization, that you can sell more merchandise overseas. You can toy around with the idea of maybe adding a team at some point. I know the NHL at one point wanted to have a European division. The logistics don't work, but I know they wanted to. I think it's fine. I think it's a fun way to grow the game on some level. I'll be interested to see the games in Australia, how well they're attended.
Still no Red Wing news.
Nope. And stuff's coming in at a pace that normally, like, I'll start writing stuff on the board and then everybody's correcting me, and then there's all the. So I'm debating about all this. And they're yammering a lot considering there's signings going on. Oh, they've still got Reeves up there.
Where does Taves go if he does not retire?
I don't think Taves goes anywhere today. I think Jonathan Taves, I think he's going to be one of those guys who gets signed during the season next year. He may not be able to play. So I don't think Taves gets signed today. Kane's not getting signed today. We're not going to see a signing for Puljujarvi today. Guys who have an injury concern, GMs aren't going to want to give them a ton of money until they know that they're going to be able to play.
Oh my goodness. This is silliness.
Yep.
Okay. Are you expecting any big trades today?
Nah. No, I've given up on expecting any big trades.
Cats, please.
Okay,
Cats really do what they would like to do. I've got a bun right here. Oh, there's a cat right here. Bear's right by our feet. Maple's on the tree over there. They're in our vicinity, but they do what they would like to do. They're not good listeners.
No.
I see a lot of people saying JVR to Boston. Yeah, a lot of JVR to Boston.
Which is weird because he's a winger.
Can't see the board. That's because we're standing in front of it.
Yep, I'll just step out. There you go.
See, that's the problem.
And then people get mad about which ones aren't on there.
Yeah, and you still can't. I can't read it. Can you guys actually read the board?
People watching on their TV would be able to read it.
Oh, that'd be weird having people watch us on their TV.
Okay, so that's not
going
to work.
LA night for money in the bank. Yeah. Oh, you can read it on your. See, I can barely read on here. My eyes are absolutely horrible, especially first thing in the morning. Can read it on your phone. And all you guys bragging about your good eyes. Shannon thinks we like to watch him when in fact what we all crave is the marker board, right? See, we've got it figured out. They've watched the channel for the whiteboard. Aren't you glad? Okay. I'm watching THG TV. Would you like to Shane at any of your teams?
No. I mean, I could see him going to Boston on a cheap deal, but I don't see Duchesne getting back his 40 goal form, and I think he's probably going to be too highly priced.
Do you think Ghost could end up in Philly?
I mean, it's possible, but apparently the last contract offer that he had was $3.25 million a year to stay with the Canes, and he turned that down. So he's going to be expensive. I don't know that there's a team that necessarily would want to throw, say, $4 million a year or $3.5 million a year at him. So we'll find out today.
What's your favorite ice cream flavor? Chocolate peanut butter. Yes, that's the best. Do you have a favorite ice cream flavor, Shannon?
Not really. I can't really. I'm kind of lactose intolerant at this point in my life, so I can't really eat ice cream. It kind of ticks me off. Let's see, O'Reilly.
Do you think Babcock will treat players fair, or will he be like Torts and Dubois again?
I do think that Babcock will probably soften his coaching style a bit, but how much and how well he's going to help that team get better, we'll see.
Thoughts on the Habs rebuild? Most of their core is 23 or younger.
Montreal's another couple of years away from being in a playoff spot or competing for that playoff spot. So I think they're doing well. Again, the trick isn't necessarily tearing the team down and getting top prospects. That's the easier side of it, is being able to build that back up and get into the playoffs. And they're going to need to fix some things before that's going to work.
Graves and Tatar predictions?
Tatar, no idea, because Tatar's play in New Jersey towards the end of the year, I totally understand why New Jersey didn't bring him back. And I don't get into all the prediction stuff. Like, I do my best not to, because it is impossible to tell where somebody's going to go on July the 1st. You don't have the period of time where players can talk to teams now before July the 1st, so it all just becomes guesswork. Basically, a lot of the time with the reporters, they just look at a team and they go, well, this team needs to fix that part of their roster, so that's where he should go.
There are lactose-free ice creams. The ice cream I get is
It tastes
no
lactose-free.
dairy and no sugar. I call it my pretend ice cream, but it's ice cream that I can actually have. So there's that. But it's kind of disappointing, and they don't have very many flavors. So the chocolate is horrible.
Yes.
You have to put all sorts of things in there, otherwise. Bleh.
Yeah. Whatever lactose is, it's delicious. It's the same as gluten. Yeah, Van Riemsdyk is confirmed. It's 1 year, 1 million. But that doesn't solve Boston's problem down the middle.
On this Canada Day, let us celebrate the greatest Canadian creation, Coffee Crisp chocolate bars. Can the Kings sign a goalie? Please, hockey gods.
The only starter that's out there that I think is a bona fide starter is Freddie Anderson, and we'll see. Outside of that, you have a question mark attached to almost anybody else they might sign. They may end up having to go the trade route. And they're talking about Ryan Reeves again. This is the frustrating thing about the Toronto networks, is that hey, Toronto signed this guy. We're going to talk about him for the next hour.
JVR to Boston. Thoughts?
Yep, already on the board. He's a depth scorer at this point. He'll produce on the power play. Yeah, I mean, it's not a game changer. It doesn't fix Boston's issue, which is they've lost Bergeron and Krejci down the middle. They have serious issues at the center spot.
Who signs Frederik Andersen?
As I mentioned, LA might be in on him, but it's got to be a team that has A, cap space, which LA's a little challenged there, and B, needs a starter, because he's not going to want to be a backup.
Well, see, I don't really look for the dairy-free. I look for the sugar-free, and I have one option at the store, so that's the one I go with. Are there any NHL players that are friends of the channel or that watch?
I mean, there's players that watch. I know there's players that watch. I haven't had any contact with any hockey players, but I know there's players that watch.
Not current players. You've been messaged by
I've had
players,
former players. I've had players that have done career videos on Talk to Me, but outside of that, current players, no. And I don't have interest in that either. I don't want to be getting a bunch of information I can't share on the channel. I don't want to have a bunch of information on stuff. And so, yeah.
Any confidence with Dubas taking the helm in Pittsburgh? Do you think it bodes well for their immediate future, or is it a longer-term rebuild plan?
They brought in Dubas because they feel like he's intelligent enough to get them back into the playoffs and get them back into contention. They want to get back into contention because you have Crosby, Malkin, Letang all signed. You need to make that work.
I see a few people saying Wheeler to Rangers.
Yeah, they need depth scoring. That would make some sense.
Yep, more Wheeler to Rangers. Can Zacha be first center in Boston?
I hope not. I say that I like Zacha. He's not a first line center. So if Zacha's the first line center, they're not going anywhere. Zacha and Coyle did their best, but they're not first and second line centers over an 82 game schedule.
Good morning. Why does Quick make more sense than Halak? I don't think it does. New York sports are miserable, but this channel certainly isn't.
Well, I mean, we don't know whether it was the Rangers saying no to Halak or Halak saying no to the Rangers. And maybe Halak wanted more money than Quick. Maybe Quick's contract made more sense. Quick's going to have a bounce back year, though, to make that work.
Are y'all thinking of coming down to Boston for the Bruins centennial year?
No.
Maybe for a game.
No, it doesn't work.
Minnie, take a sheet on us. Pius Sutter?
Pius Sutter.
Oh, okay.
Who? Minnie? Minnesota take a shot at him?
Yeah.
I mean, they could. Suter also doesn't move the needle. There are very few players that are going to move the needle for these teams in their coming season. So Wheeler, it's 800,000 for him.
So I guess the Leafs are running it back. Marner has trade protection today. Also, not a fan of Duchesne being bought out.
I think Duchesne got bought out because Barry Trotz has a vision for what he wants his roster to look like next season, and he knew Duchesne was going to be on the outs, and there was no trade value. There just wasn't any trade value for these guys. So McLeod and Bastian have both re-signed with the New Jersey Devils. Stenlund goes to Florida. I'm not putting Stenlund on the board.
If Canes lack grit, Rod is still fit enough to play.
True. I'm waiting for him to tear that jacket off and find out he has a jersey underneath that. Okay, so now I've got a tracker that's going to work better. Anderson Dolan's staying in LA. He signed a 1-year extension for league minimum. Hunter Shepard gets a 1-year extension league minimum from the Washington Capitals. He was their goalie of record when they won the Calder Cup. Looked pretty darn good.
Does JVR mean no Lucic?
Not necessarily. I would think JVR is a third liner, Lucic is a fourth liner.
Who's going to be a net for the Kings this year?
Right now they have Copley and Copley. So unless they feel like one of the young goaltenders is ready to step up, look for them to add. Doesn't mean it's today, though. I don't think there's going to be a lot of teams that are fixing their rosters today.
Yep. Again, we will be blocking the board because we need to be able to see the screen. And
I can just step over here and I can talk from off screen. I think last year I ended up standing looking over the board, but
yeah, because it's really fun.
But it doesn't. Fun. Yeah.
I see. No.
Yeah.
Chance of Bertuzzi to Leafs.
I can't see the Leafs having the cap space for Bertuzzi. If Bertuzzi was asking for a reasonable amount of money, I think he would have ended up re-signing with the Bruins, which could still happen, but I think he wants to get paid. And there's a lot of teams in the league right now that can't afford to give these guys what they're probably worth. And Toronto would be one of them.
What is the difference between a cap hit and value on cap friendly?
Well, their cap hit should be the value on cap friendly. So that doesn't mean that's their salary either. Like I mentioned last night talking about JT Miller's contract, he has an $8.5 million signing bonus he got today from the Canucks, so he's not being traded. But his actual salary this year combines out to $9.5 million. So his actual money is $9.5 million, but the cap hit for the contract, the average is $8.5 million.
Wheeler for $800,000 is probably the best deal in the history of the NHL.
He wants a chance to win. Feels like the Rangers give him that chance, and he signs a team-friendly deal.
Can people stop going to Eastern Conference? This is ludicrous.
I wouldn't say that there's any. Well, I mean, there's Shannon and O'Reilly both went to the Western Conference with Nashville, although Nashville is very East Coast.
No chance Korpisalo signs with the Kings.
I haven't heard anything about them talking to him much. I don't think so, but he's going to have limited options in the free agent market because, again, I think he wants a chance to be a starter or at the very least a 1A, 1B, and I don't know how many teams are going to be looking for that or willing to pay him at that.
Can you explain what a buyout is?
Buyout just means like there was 1 year left on Wheeler's contract, so the Jets decided they want to get rid of it, so they give him a cash sum to basically go away. And then there's a penalty that goes to the Jets for this year and the following year. So the penalty will be double the length of what's remaining in the contract. So Duchesne being bought out means it's a 6-year penalty because he had 3 years left in his contract.
Do you think the Caps move Kuzi today if they have any suitors?
The trick with Kuznetsov is that cap hit. His production has been down. He's not 24 anymore, and I don't think there's a lot of teams that are looking to add that kind of a contract with somebody who's coming off of a down year.
Gosh, if ESPN wanted you to do a coach's corner type of role between periods, would you go for it?
I'd have to go to the States. I'd have to be in the States.
Country.
We'd kind of have to live there.
Not happening.
Can't. I like either that or I'd be flying there once a week. I don't see that working.
No.
Yeah.
Scott Mayfield may be one of the best bottom pair defensemen in the NHL. Extremely solid defensively with flashes of offense.
The Islanders, last I heard, were still trying to get him re-signed, but he may get more value on the free agent market. He might get a better chance to play top 4 minutes with a different team.
Is there a move the Canucks could make that would really excite you, or are we doomed to another year of mediocrity?
I don't have faith in Vancouver getting better this coming season. I think this last year was kind of like all right, so this is it. They're a mediocre team. This is just the reality. I hope they prove me wrong, but I have no optimism with the Canucks any further.
What's wrong with the U.S.? That would be a whole nother video that we are not doing on this channel.
Yeah, see, and just moving from Canada to the U.S. is an absolute pain.
We're not moving to another country. We really like living in Canada. No desire to live in the States.
And it's children. It's not that easy.
No. Despite what people think, you can't just decide, I'm going to move to another country.
Pack my bags and go, I think I'm going to live in Portland. I think I'm going to live in Dallas. I can't just do that. You need to immigrate, and it's kind of a hassle.
Happy Bobby Vanilla Day from California.
He's paid until I think 21, 22. Like he was bought out by the Mets a long time ago. I should do a video on that. That would actually be kind of fun. So Jonathan Quick officially is a Ranger. Thankfully, I've got a whole ton of logos in here.
You think Bertuzzi to Buffalo is going to happen?
That would be a good fit for Bertuzzi because he's young as well. But we'll see. He's going to be expensive. I'm just saying. So 1 year, $825,000 for Quick. So there's the answer about why they didn't bring Halak back. I don't think Halak would have signed for $825,000.
Do you think NHL teams ever break salary cap rules?
I see. I don't think they intentionally do it. I think they know what they're allowed to do, and they do the things they're allowed to do under the collective bargaining agreement. I think because if you get caught breaking the rules by the league, you can suffer some severe penalties. So I don't think so.
Did I read that one?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Thoughts on Devils keeping Bastian and McLeod.
That makes a lot of sense. I like McLeod's game as a bottom six forward. I think Bastian's fine there. Bastian left and went to Seattle. It didn't go well for him in Seattle. He goes back to New Jersey, and it just fits. So those signings make a lot of sense.
Do you have a Ryan Shannon Canucks jersey? Please tell me you do.
When Ryan Shannon played for the Canucks, I did not make money that would have allowed me to buy a jersey with a name on the back. I got to buy maybe one jersey a year at that point in time, maybe. Didn't have money. I was broke all the time. So yeah, the idea of adding a player jersey with a name on the back, it just didn't happen.
I have to say I really like the Blake Wheeler signing for the Rangers, particularly at that price point. Also, I think Quick provides a nice vet presence.
They also need Quick to bounce back. Quick's numbers were a nightmare last year. He's on the older side, of course. They're going to be betting on a bit of a bounce back, but he's not going to be needed that much. He might play 15, maybe 20 games for the Rangers. That might be part of the reason Halak doesn't come back too. He might have wanted to play somewhere where he had a better chance of playing more.
Goodness. I can't write. Got that one. Stop.
See, it's when you click on it. That's the problem.
If you're the Senators, would you take Pajot and Dobson for DeBrincat?
No. I don't think doesn't Pajot have a no movement or a no trade. I don't think Pajot would want to go back to Ottawa. And I don't think the Islanders would trade Dobson. I don't see that. Dobson's their best young defenseman. I really can't see that happening. And so for DeBrincat, I don't think that trade would work.
Do you think the Edmondson move allows Kent Hughes to possibly sign some players?
I mean, they've been trying. The rumor has been they've been trying to move Edmondson for a while, and so getting him traded today definitely helps. I'm not putting the trade on the board because this is just for free agents, but it is probably the right move. And then what it also allows Montreal to do, because I don't think they're expecting to be a playoff team this year, is you can take on another team's bad contract. You have that extra cap space to get that done. So we will see what Montreal's plans are, but so far Kent Hughes definitely seems to have a viable plan.
Curious on your thoughts on Habs and Reinbacher?
I like Reinbacher. I do agree that there might have been other prospects there they may regret not picking up later, like other prospects that might have been a really good pick at 5. But I will admire them for deciding this is our best player, this is our best pick, and going out there and getting him.
No, Shannon does not gamble.
Ever.
We make it very, very clear. No.
Vegas is a great place to go if you don't want to gamble.
No. We like actually being able to use our money and not just giving it away.
Right. Yep.
No to gambling. Thoughts on nope. Come on.
Good job.
Love the videos as always. Super pumped about Bedard pick. My question, is there a difference between the NFL salary cap and the NHL? Could you explain a little if possible?
Well, the NHL's got the only team in North America, I believe, that's got a hard cap. So you can't go over it. There are, of course, LTIR and ways to have that extra money on your roster. But yeah, it is a hard cap. And the penalties that you suffer in the NFL are nowhere near what they would be in the NHL. Like in the NHL, you have to play with less than your full complement of your roster if you're over the cap. And I can't see the NFL saying, yeah, you can only have, one less guy on the field because you guys are over the cap today.
Do you think Quick's trade will prevent any kind of statue or jersey retirement to happen in the future? Seems like Quick might want nothing to do with the Kings after that trade.
Kings will still retire his number once he's gone from the game. He'll get his jersey number retired by the Kings. I don't think he'll have any hard feelings. It might take a little while, but he will have his number retired.
Carolina needs to pick up Lindholm or bust.
Well, it would be a matter of, does Lindholm want to go back there? That's really the question mark. Would Lindholm want to go back to where he's already been, or would he like to go somewhere else?
Can I sign Yvonne? Just kidding. Thanks for both of your years of entertainment.
So the cap hit that I suffer with Yvonne.
You suffer? It must be really hard for
I think
you.
The cost for Yvonne this year for me has been, league minimum $775,000. So that's a pretty legit starting point right there. These rings are not cheap. So she's
Shannon.
Those are diamonds, right?
I do not wear diamonds.
She demands.
I do not.
She's
I do not do diamonds.
As she puts it, she's a woman of great sophistication. So
I have never said that.
That's why when she drinks her tea, she has the one finger, the pinky finger up when she's drinking tea. She doesn't do it in live streams because she wants to appear like normals, is the way she puts it.
Normal. You're such a brat.
She also speaks with a British accent randomly. I try not to pay attention. I definitely
do not, because I can't do accents.
It's easy enough. All the accents are basically the same.
I see that, Lewis. No causing trouble. Okay.
Judge talk to you about the way you are with Lewis.
See, you guys, we look like siblings. I'm not sure. Is that a compliment or an insult?
It's not a compliment at all.
I'm not sure that I like being told that I look like my husband. Thanks, though. Is it because we're both short or pasty? I'm not sure, but
the pastiness definitely
generally
helps.
You don't tell somebody they look like their spouse.
You're the only woman that when I mentioned I was pasty would actually still talk to me on any of the dating apps. How would you describe yourself? Pasty's a start.
Short and pasty.
And then that kills the conversation.
Hey.
And when they ask how much money do you make, and I just laugh, apparently that didn't go over well either. Okay, so Blackwood re-signs with San Jose 2 years at $2.35 million per season. So Blackwood is the San Jose Sharks starting goaltender at this point.
We need a collab of you, the Bar Down Crew, and SDPN podcast. Also love your vids. And what do you think the Wild do with Addison, likely gone via trade, and Klingberg and Dumba gone as well?
The Wild are going to be challenged when it comes to figuring out how to fix their issues with the roster without going over the cap. Dumba didn't have a fantastic year. Addison, clearly, Kalen Addison is on the outs. Dean Evison, not a fan of his game. I think it's from what was said during the season, it sounded like it was a defensive intensity kind of thing where maybe it looks like he's not making as much of an effort or his defensive side's not as good. So he will produce a ton of points, though. I would think there will be interest.
Has to be the legs. I don't have legs like Shannon.
No, they're way better.
Your legs are way better. I know. I don't have muscly legs.
Mm-hmm.
You both resemble your children, like in how we behave. Definitely not how we look. If you've met our children, two of them tower.
Yeah.
Tower.
I don't know that anybody in this house looks like anybody else other than you and Adelaide, who are basically twins. Pictures of Yvonne when she's a kid, identical to Adelaide.
She has way more hair than I did. My hair was never that thick, though.
Right.
Ever. I don't know where that came from. It wasn't me. She's got everything else. She looks like me, but
yeah.
Would you ever?
Got your voice too.
Oh man, thanks. That explains a lot.
when we were at the grad and stuff, when we've been at stuff where there's singing going on, you sing too, like similar to how she does. Your singing voice is very similar. She's a good singer. Come on, belt out some tunes.
Oh my gosh, Shannon,
let's get it going. Okay. Oh, Corpusalo signs with the
Would you ever write a book about being THG?
I've thought about it. I've talked to Yvonne about it at times, but I'm not old enough, I don't think, to write that at this point.
Right. I think that'd be interesting. I think Shannon would do a good job writing a book about himself. It'd be entertaining.
So Corpusalo signs 5 years with the Senators, $20 million in total, so $4 million a year. That's a lot for Corpusalo. So I don't know if they're going to go with Corpusalo and Forsberg, but there you go. Corpusalo is officially a member of the Ottawa Senators.
Adelaide's thick hair came from Shannon. Yeah, that's it.
Via psychic energy.
When I was younger, I was frequently told that I looked just like my stepdad, and I was just his spitting image. That's amazing.
I had a thick head of hair at one point, and the funny thing is that with my kid, I told him at a young age because he was very vain about his hair, and I said, "Don't get attached, don't." And yeah, he's got the widow's peak going and everything. So yeah.
Where do you think? Sorry, where do you think Matt Duchene goes?
Duchene will have his choice amongst teams that have the cap space to sign him.
Yeah, me a serviette. My eyes are watering.
So that'll be an interesting one to watch. Because Duchene rightfully should be the highest paid player today. Remember, this is a touchscreen.
Adelaide looks like Shannon through osmosis.
It'd be quite the osmosis.
That would be. Sorry, my eyes are watering really bad.
Here's another one. There's two more.
My allergies aren't as bad today as they were the other day, so there's that. Did Shannon pay you your signing bonus as it's July 1st? Yeah, what's up with that? Okay. Anyways, moving on now.
Discuss your signing bonus.
Why is she
in front of all
crying?
these fine people on the internet.
Because it's Canada Day, and
5,200 people. You want to discuss your signing bonus?
Shannon. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Tyson Jost stays in Buffalo. 1 year, $2 million. Freddie Anderson stays.
Payment in Canadian Tire money. I have my wallet of Canadian Tire money that I really need to take it in so they can just put it on my little points mobile card, because you don't have to have a Canada, like an actual card now. You don't have to have all the paper money. I still have a wallet full of it because I always forget my card. Definitely didn't expect OEL to Florida. Wonder what else Zito has up his sleeve. Hoping for a solid forward pickup, but my hopes are slim and fast.
Slim fast. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where guys go, because like Freddie Anderson back to Carolina means now they might be done. because that gives them Kochetkov and Anderson as their goaltending tandem. I don't know that they need to add a lot else.
Did you guys go to the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver? I did.
She did. I didn't.
Also, have you both ever seen Elton John in concert? I wish.
Nope.
He was in Victoria a few years ago.
No, 2010, I had no money.
I
had no
didn't
money
either.
to do anything until 2016.
I definitely didn't. But Shannon was in Chilliwack.
I didn't leave Chilliwack for years. Even to go to Abbotsford or Hope, good luck.
Right. I was in Surrey a lot during the Olympics, so I went to a lot of the Olympic stuff. I had 2 tiny little boys at that point, and we went to a lot of the free community stuff. I couldn't afford to go to any of the games or anything, but they had so many cool community events. They had the hockey games. They'd have them on these big projection screens on parks. A lot of businesses did really fun community things. The Olympics were really fun, and I couldn't go to any games or anything, but it was fun. I liked the Olympics. 3 goalie rotation for the Canes.
You know what? Yeah, Ronta's still there. So Kochetkov, I guess they're going to give him another year in the minors because Ronta only gets 1 year. I'm kind of surprised that they signed both because, I figured with Kochetkov getting $2 million next year, they wouldn't keep all 3 goaltenders.
A lot of comments on how Wheeler was a steal.
Yes, but you have to remember that players in their mid-30s, you have that precarious drop-off. A huge drop-off in production happens, and that's part of the risk when you're picking up an older player. But I will say he would have probably got more money elsewhere. He just likely wanted to sign with the Rangers.
You're a GM. What's acceptable money and term for Dumba?
I would give Dumba a shorter term deal. I'd go 2 years. I'd go with probably $3.5 million a year, somewhere in that region. I know that's below his market value. I would hope that I could sell him on the idea of, hey, 2 years from now, the salary cap's going to be way higher. You'll be able to get way more money. Come play for us and increase your value.
How big is Canada Day compared to July 4th?
It's not as loud.
It's very, very different.
It's a very different experience.
Canada Day is a bigger thing than Independence Day in the States because Independence Day in the States, it's about the fireworks and blowing things up. But before that, cities will have a parade, but then you do the outdoor barbecues with your family. But Canada Day, it's more of an all-day community thing, and it doesn't focus on fireworks and blowing things up. So there's always, at least here, there's always pancake breakfasts you can go to. Different groups will do the pancake breakfast that you can go to. Then we have the parade. And then there's the various community stuff. Yeah. And everywhere I've ever been has the fun community stuff. Ours is awesome where, they've got the stage. They'll have local bands and the fun little dance groups and all sorts of stuff to do. So to me, Canada Day is bigger than how Independence Day is celebrated most places in the States, because in the States it focuses on blowing things up.
Can you say hi to the internet?
A little worried about the Isles re-signing everyone. They need a shakeup in the room. They still need a scoring winger to play with Horvat and Barzal.
Lou has been pretty consistent with his keeping everything kind of the same over the last few years in the locker room. And he picks up veterans more than anything else. We'll see if Varlamov re-signs. Their odds are he probably does. It's
a very Canadian view of looking at July 4th. I'm sure it is, because you know what? But I don't call it July 4th because we have July 4th too. It's just a day. It's American Independence Day.
True.
So
it does get very fireworky, loud.
I have been to the States for the July 4th. On July 4th, I've been down there and I didn't like it at all. It's a lot of blowing things up and
there are Americans who come up here on July 4th
with explosives.
There's Americans who come up here.
It makes me very, very anxious. I do not like it. I know people like doing that. It's not my thing.
Oh, Gudis goes to the Ducks.
My cousin, who is a Red Wings fan, introduced me to this channel a couple years ago. Flyer fan myself. Please give me some optimism that we are on the right track. Love from India. Massive respect for you.
The team's on the right track because they have a GM who seems to have a plan and know what he's doing. The team needs to go through the rebuild. They're probably going to be pretty bad this coming season. I don't know how long they're going to stay down, but they're making the right moves that they need to. $4 million a year for Gudis. That's high. I think, and I understand what Gudis did in getting Florida all the way to the Stanley Cup, but he's 33. He plays a very physical game. And so once the body starts to break down, it can break down really quickly. That's a pricey contract for Gudis.
I didn't forget barbecue on Independence Day. That's what I said. You do parades, and then you guys usually have barbecues with your families, and then there's the fireworks. That's different than here.
Yeah.
We do community stuff, whereas in the States, they do more, you hang out with your family stuff.
I haven't seen what Connor Brown's signed for yet.
Yeah, I'm not talking about what the holiday is actually celebrating.
Oh, Eric Johnson goes to the Sabres.
Why would we choose July 4th as, and it's not, for us, it's not Independence Day. That's an American thing. We do not have Independence Day. Ours is Dominion Day. It's not Independence Day. They are different holidays. They're
they
both
just let us go.
birthdays, but they are different. Any chance Duchesne goes to Wings as right wing 1 second center?
I mean, it's possible, but again, you're going to have to look at probably a pretty steep cap hit. Some of the cap hits for these guys seems to be a little bit high. So I really think it's going to be an expensive contract for Duchesne. So it's $3.25 million, right? Yep, $3.25 million for Eric Johnson for a single year to the Buffalo Sabres.
Do you think Chicago does anything?
I don't think they need to, but it's possible. Connor Brown gets 1 year from the Oilers, $4 million. That's a lot for Connor Brown.
Fireworks are better than pancakes. Disagree. No, pancakes are great. Why is Shannon wearing a Reinhart jersey with Calgary in it?
Because he played for Calgary. When this jersey was done, when they stopped making it and it was going away, there was a sale on Cool Hockey. Well, I'm always gonna the sale jersey. I get a name on the back, and I wanted to get one of my favorite players, and I thought, well, Reinhart was my favorite player when he played in Calgary. So there you go, Paul Reinhart.
Buffalo signs. Oh, there you go.
Right there.
Ta-da!
Yeah, I've got the live tracker there. Morgan Geekie signs with the Bruins, so that's depth up front. That's a depth center. Yeah, we'll see how things go for Boston. 2 years, $2 million per. I do like Geekie, though. That's a good ad.
What are the Canucks doing?
So far, nothing. But the market might be a little bit expensive for the Canucks right now.
French toast is a superior breakfast sweet. Sweet? Well, I mean, I guess if you make it like that.
Well, pancakes are once you get all the maple syrup on them.
I don't know.
I'm weird that I don't mind maple syrup, but I don't drench things in maple syrup.
I don't know.
So I have like a little bit of maple syrup when I have pancakes or waffles, a surprisingly small amount, actually. I used to with Eggos when I was a little kid. I would try to make sure that each little pocket had a little bit in it. So I try to have a little bit in each of the Eggo pockets. I don't know
that I ever had Eggos.
You've never had Eggo waffles?
Like, I've had them before. I don't think I ever had them when I was younger. I know I've had them before. I know I've had Eggos at least once.
No, I had them all the time when I was a kid. Do you want me to order you Eggos?
No, I can make my own waffles.
Yeah, but I could order you Eggos and then it's faster.
But I don't know. I really don't.
And more expensive.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. But waffles are super easy to make, especially if you use you make a batter mix, and all you have to do is add some milk to it. Ta-da! Do the pancakes have a crust? If it does, pancakes over fireworks. If not, fireworks over pancakes.
Oh, James Reimer goes to Detroit. So the Red Wings pick up Reimer.
You don't have Independence Day because you're British. Before you argue the Queen is on your money, you are British.
We're not actually British. We're still part of the Commonwealth. That's all.
Yeah, my family is British. That does not make Canada British. We're a part of the Commonwealth, but not a part of Britain. There is a difference.
So Reimer goes to Detroit 1 year, $1.5 million.
Which is why it's not an Independence Day.
They just let us go.
Different. Yeah.
We waited till they were cool with it.
Like, so is it fine if we just make
Can we be our own country? No? All right, we'll be over here waiting. Just let us know. Just let us know. Did you want us to light fire to the White House again? No? All right. Well, we'll just sit here and wait. We'll still call ourselves British. Just let us know when we can be Canadian, because we've already started doing Canadian stuff. You seen these beavers? These beavers are cool.
They're so cute.
They should be on all of our money.
They're adorable.
And then I think that's when the British are like, these people are weird. We need to let them go.
But beavers are adorable.
They are.
They waddle. They're so chubby, and they waddle when they cross the road, and everybody has to stop because they just take their sweet time, kind of like geese. But they waddle.
Geese, you get the whole family.
Oh my gosh.
You have the whole
and
chain
there's
of
more,
babies.
And then they'll turn. Okay, anyways. No Bill McNult jersey.
Oh, no. McCall was one of those Canucks that used to drive me crazy. There were times where he'd play really well. There were times where he was kind of invisible. He drove me insane. When they traded him to the Islanders, I was actually my stress level went down a little bit when they did that.
Okay. Your country serves the Queen, you British mate. No, we have a king.
The Queen.
We don't serve the Queen. We have a king now.
We don't serve.
But
it's not like Charles comes over and says, "All right, everybody out of here, and I'm going to put this over here." Like they don't. It's just in name only. Works. It's not like they tell us to do anything. It's part of being in the Commonwealth.
Yep.
I think it's because we like dominating at the Commonwealth Games, because we know the Americans won't be there. We don't have to worry about losing to all the Chinese athletes in diving. So, I mean, we get way more medals at the Commonwealth Games because we're just against other British colonies. It works out really well for us.
Sens adding, Buffalo adding. So who's winning the Atlantic? Who falls out? Hopefully not Tampa.
Well, I don't think any of these players move the needle that much. I think it helps. I think there's a natural progression with Buffalo and with Detroit, but I don't think anything's hurt Tampa yet. We haven't heard anything with Killorn at this point.
You have a problem with Canadian gooses. You have a problem with me.
That's right. Darn tootin'.
Commonwealth is like super allies. We need like a flag for super allies.
Well, we used to have the British, the Union Jack.
Union Jack, yep.
One of the designs for Canada's flag before we went to Maple Leaf still had a Union Jack in the corner. They went against that. There were some fun designs before they went with the Maple Leaf.
Flag. BC flag has it.
BC flag is an eyesore.
It is. Have you seen they've done other versions of it recently? There's some fun ones.
It is an eyesore as it is.
I really liked the Aboriginal version of the BC flag. It looks great. They need to do that one. Hello, Mr. THG Guy. Yoni Yarmo is awesome. What are the chances of Aturati will be a superstar as soon as 23-24 season?
Ratu had a rough time of it in Abbotsford. He needs at least another year in the AHL. He is not an NHL level player. Games we went to late in the season, he was invisible for a lot of that. So he definitely needs more time in the AHL to develop his game.
Can you explain Brown's contract? It says $775,000 with $3.2 million
player bonus.
Does that 3.2 count towards the cap?
Yes. It's. I mean, if it's purely a performance bonus, then it would tack on to next year's cap. But usually those performance dollars are pretty easy to get.
Connor Brown contract is $775 and performance bonuses.
Yeah, so it's $4 million altogether.
Who has the best
still a lot
coverage
of money
right now, TSN or Sportsnet?
They're
Shannon
both about the
flipped
same.
through.
They're talking heads. There's a lot of chatting. So
Oh, We Are the Beaver by Arrogant Worms. That song's fun. The Arrogant Worms are great though. So
yes, they are. So Connor Clifton goes to Buffalo. I like Clifton. I think Buffalo fans will like him as well. He's a good player. Wow, 3 years, $3.33 million.
Wow. THG has the best coverage because he's so cute. Did Krejci and Bergeron retire?
The Bruins are going on the assumption that they're going to.
Will the Stars do anything?
This market's going to be expensive. I wouldn't be surprised if Dallas is pretty quiet. I don't think they need to make major changes, so they might be better off going the trade route.
We aren't British because we're Canadian. We are not part of Britain.
No.
We are Canada, which is a part of the UK, which is not a part of Britain. Britain is in the UK.
We do pretty closely identify with their sense of humor, though. British humor tends to be the one I like better.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a choice between reruns of Monty Python or watching anything else. I'm probably going to pick Monty Python. And Faulty Towers is still the funniest thing in the history of television.
Britain is part of the UK. We are a part of UK. We are not a part of Britain. Makes sense?
We're not a part of the UK. We're part of the Commonwealth.
Or not, yes. No, that's what I meant to say. It's the Commonwealth.
We're really very far different from the UK.
The Britain is a part of the UK. Those are a few countries in the United Kingdom, part of the Commonwealth. We're all a part of the Commonwealth. There you go.
Okay, so
does that make sense? Right, so we are not a part of Britain. We are not Britain. My family is British.
Mine's Scotch-Irish.
There you go. So there's your Canadian lesson for today. Quick thoughts on... I don't know what that means.
Money in the Bank.
Oh, wrestling in 2 hours. LA Knights fan.
LA Knight should win it. I don't know if he's going to win it. He should. I'm thinking they probably give it to Logan Paul, because then that's the best marketing tool, where Logan Paul could carry it around and talk about it on talk shows or on his own podcast. Logan Paul's probably going to win
it. Where does Mantha go?
Mantha's still got term. So guys with term, it's going to be after this period, I think, where you see them get moved. So a lot of the big names that we're looking for to get traded, guys who have contracts beyond this year, they will probably get moved during the summer once free agent period is passed. You want to make sure that you're acquiring players for as little as possible. Today's the perfect example of that. It's free other than cap space. And then after that, you look for trades.
Faulty Towers is hilarious.
Yep. Watery fouls when they start messing with the sign at the front.
Who would you like to go and be best for who? Yeah. Be best for the Devils.
The Devils are almost set, and there's rumors that they might be adding another forward. So, yeah, I don't think the Devils need to do a lot. I mean, Nemitz is probably coming up and playing for them this coming season. There's not really a lot of work left to do if you're Tom Fitzgerald. He can probably just relax today now that he's got Bastian and McLeod re-signed.
Shannon has done videos talking about where he has got his jerseys before.
Yep. I did a video not that long ago where I get all my stuff.
Yeah, he's done a few of them. And then during the last jersey countdown, he even specifically talked about where he got each jersey.
Yeah.
And then we have things in the description as well.
I can try, but I don't know that I can do that now.
What do you think the Hawks do?
The Hawks have a ton of cap space. I think the smartest thing for the Hawks to do, and this is why I was surprised at Perry and Foligno getting signed, I think they could take on a contract or two from another team that's expensive they don't want to keep. and add more draft picks and prospects as well in the process. I think that there will be opportunities for them this summer to make those additions as teams are really up against it.
What's this Clifton guy about in Buffalo?
Clifton is a third pairing defenseman. He's good depth. The one thing though with Boston is a lot of their depth guys look pretty good in Boston and then struggle elsewhere. We'll see if that happens with Clifton, but I like Clifton. It'll be interesting to see where Buffalo slots him in, but naturally he's a third pairing defenseman.
Of course, we've watched Corner Gas.
I was watching Corner Gas yesterday.
Corner Gas is funny.
Where Brent puts in the security camera.
Oh,
and to get rid of it, his parents talk dirty to each other in the front of the security camera. Yeah, check under your hood. And all I could think watching it was,
totally how we
that's something we would do. We thought we were on camera and one of the kids are watching us.
We absolutely say things to make the kids go, ah!
It's like when the kids are aggravating and I go over and just start making out with you.
We do the really loud kissing. Hey, hi. Ah, Mom.
You got nice tonsils today. And then they run the other way. It's the weirdest thing.
Great. That's
Alex
what you do if you have
with the Rangers.
If you want teenagers to leave you alone, just start being all touchy and stuff. It's
climb over each other.
Yeah, it's really funny. Confirmed through Kings beat writers, Jarrett Anderson Dolan re-signs for $775,000. Also rumored Trevor Lewis comes back for league minimum.
Be a good deal for him on league minimum.
Lars linked the video where you get stuff. What's the U.S. state dislike the most and why? Chat, feel free to answer. I haven't been to enough
I'm not
states,
a fan.
And I'm not, nope.
I'm not a fan of South Oregon. South Oregon is the worst of the 51 states. I think South Oregon is useless. I don't think we've ever seen. No, it's a state, South Oregon. So you have North Oregon and South Oregon. They're two different states. The worst thing is they won't admit that it's a real thing.
East Oregon, but
hey, you can't have a West Virginia if you don't have an East Virginia, but that's a whole other discussion for another time. You can't be like, well, this is, I mean, I guess, they could have other Virginia. They could do it like, this is my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl. They could do this is Virginia and this is other Virginia. But you can't do West Virginia and Virginia. The other one has to be East Virginia or forget it, because you're being West for no reason. Get a new name. Change the name of your state. Be smart about it.
Where do you think Hellebuck will end up?
Hellebuck, my guess is it'll be an American team that's contending. It has to be a team as well that can swap goalies. So it has to be a team that can offer a goalie to Winnipeg because they want to stay in contention. And that limits their opportunity, because how many teams out there have a starting goaltender that they'd be willing to swap for Hellebuck that then the Jets would view as being good? I think it's got to be a younger goaltender. I think it's got to be a reasonable cap hit. It'll be a fun time. We'll see. Maybe he goes to Boston for Ullmark. There you go. Maybe you do that, right?
Can OEL help the Panthers? Does he have anything left in the tank?
If OEL is not overplayed, if he's on the third pairing, it absolutely can work. The problem is Arizona worked him into the ground. By the time Vancouver got him, he was broken down. It's sort of like Vancouver did it with Garth Butcher and then traded him to St. Louis. I felt so bad because, Vancouver overplayed Butcher for years and then traded him off as his play was tailing off. And it feels like with OEL, that's what was going on before Vancouver got him.
Will the Kings be okay with Talbot? What should they do to fix their goalie situation after this year's scene, as they may not have 23 players dressed?
Talbot is still good when he's healthy, and Talbot's advanced stats were okay. So his traditional stats, not fantastic, but his advanced stats were okay. I think he had a positive in the goal saved above expected. And he played well. It's a matter of him staying healthy. If he stays healthy, that $1 million cap hit will be a bargain.
Shannon will be doing videos today explaining these different trades and signings.
Yep. I will be doing videos like I did yesterday.
Yep. Will the Jets actually sign a notable free agent?
I mean, it's possible they may add. I don't think it'll be a big name. I think we'll see probably some depth guys getting picked up if they're active today.
Red Dwarf is great. Agreed.
Red Dwarf's fantastic.
If you were to get a Storm jersey, where on the ranking list would it be? Top 25, top 10, top 5? So ugly, it's beautiful.
If I got a Storm jersey, it would probably be in the top 25. The Storm jersey I have now, that's going to end up being pretty high once I get into the countdown territory. I really like it because it's something completely different. Oh, did you see that? There was a guy who was like one of the production guys that realized he was on TV and ran out.
Oh,
I'm not supposed to be on television.
Camera.
They didn't tell me I was coming. They were coming back.
Who takes a chance on Max Pacioretty?
Pacioretty's going to generate some interest today. Teams will want to know that he's healthy from his Achilles, like actually healthy from that Achilles. Pacioretty can still be a 25 goal scorer in the NHL. So for teams looking for scoring depth, he can be a really solid pickup. But he may generate a lot of money too. He may end up going to the highest bidder.
Skipping around.
Send him back to Montreal.
Hoping Reimer can bounce back with Detroit and that his number last season was because he was behind the San Jose defense.
There's some of that. Reimer also had a subpar season. Better than Kakinen, though. I think that's why they've gone to Blackwood, because the goaltending in San Jose just did not work this past season. But we saw what Aiden Hill did when he got out of San Jose, so maybe Reimer does something similar.
Have the Kings done anything good?
The Kings have picked up Talbot for $1 million for one season, and they've kept Jared Anderson Dolan. So that's what they've done so far.
Hearing Louis Eriksson, Canucks, more to come.
Yeah, I can't see that. Eriksson, I did a video on his career not that long ago. I liked Louis. I know it didn't work out in Vancouver, but I liked him in Dallas. I liked him in Boston. And then that contract just made him untradeable until the final year, when the Canucks made that stupid trade where they also gave up the Gauthier pick. But anyways.
Seems like DeBrincat to the Islanders is picking up steam, according to the Islanders reporters. Pajot would be going back to Ottawa.
I'm really surprised by that. I figured when Pajot left Ottawa that he would probably not want to go back necessarily, but we'll see.
Skatey Skate is the new Canucks mascot, the flying skate.
Just watch when you're hugging him, because there'd be blades. Like there'd be a blade on his head, and then there'd be blades on his hands because he'd have like skates on his hands. And then like his face would be like almost like a bowl of spaghetti, because it looks like spaghetti, the skate on the skate jersey.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I think you could come up with a really, really terrifying idea for a mascot. Does Skatey.
Does Petey hit 40 goals next year? And how much will he get for his next contract?
Pettersson, minimum on his next contract is $10 million a year. And he should get 40 goals. He should get 100 points as well. Okay, so Gustav Nyquist goes to Nashville. So Nashville's busy today. Doesn't look like a rebuilding team to me. Not with all these signings they're doing. Come on. I got another Nashville. Got tons of Nashville. Okay. Start messing around with me. All kinds of Nashville magnets. I just have to organize these a little better.
Best case in all these Hawks prospects: Bedard, Korchinski, Oliver Moore, Frank Nazar, Nick Lardis, Kasternov. Name a faster team in the NHL in 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, they've got a ton of young prospects now in Chicago. I think they're in good shape. And yeah. Lucic is going back to Boston. And Justin Hall signs with Detroit. So that'll be interesting, because I remember the last time that a defenseman out of Toronto was slagged for being not very good and everything. That was Larry Murphy. Turned out pretty well for Detroit with that one.
Any news in Dallas?
Nothing yet. Nothing out of Dallas.
What do you think of what the Blackhawks have done?
Blackhawks are on a good trajectory with their rebuild. I think they're at least another couple of years away from contending, and they know that.
Will the Elias Lindholm stuff be wrapped up today?
I doubt it. I'd be very surprised if he gets traded today. I think there's going to be a lot of big names that are still out there. So 1 year, $1 million for Lucic with Boston. Hall signs in Detroit. 3 years, $3.4 million per.
How was Reeves able to get 3 years at 36? That's crazy.
Yep. And most people see that as being a pretty crazy deal. And so, yeah, I won't disagree with that at all. But they're talking to Reeves right now on there. Man.
Is Toronto waiting for Matthews to sign?
Well, they can officially sign him today. I guarantee you Tree Living will talk to him today and over the coming days. They want that done as soon as possible. And then they'll circle back on Nylander and see if there's an extension there or if they have to make a move.
Vancouver gets Cole. Is he a defenseman?
Cole's a defenseman. He's on the older side. He's a third pairing guy. If they overplay him, they're going to regret it pretty quickly.
What should Calgary be doing right now?
Figuring out what they're going to do with the guys who are expiring next year. Figure that out as quickly as possible, and don't overpay for free agents right now. I think there are teams that might be looking at this market and saying, "Well, that seems a little bit pricey for those guys," and they might be getting priced out.
Bluger and Cole to the Canucks.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun to see them in Vancouver because I like Teddy Bluger.
So Talbot and Copley will be the Kings first and second. Looks like Blake is waiting a year for Portillo to be ready.
Yeah, and Portillo's likely the next guy to get a backup job. I'm kind of surprised they don't at least give Villalta a bit of a look at the NHL level. He's been with the Reign for a long time, but I guess the NHL upside just isn't there.
Skeety nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what could you do with the Flames? You just basically cover a guy in oil and then light him up and send him out. Here you go. Here's our new mascot, Flamey McFlame Face.
My goodness.
But every 40 seconds, you'd have to have somebody put Flamey out, and then you'd have to... And that'd be bad on the ice, too, because he'd melt the ice. It's a terrible idea. I don't know why I brought it up. What are you shaking your head for? Connor Mackey goes to the Rangers.
Anything from Seattle?
Nothing yet. Seattle, pretty quiet. They've lost Geeky. He goes to Boston. I think they will try to keep Sprong. A lot of people talking about Sprong and how many points he has and why wasn't he qualified. Sprong, I think it's his foot speed and I think it's his defensive play that makes him less valuable to a GM than we as fans might think he should be. So,
are the Canadians going to sign forwards today?
What I heard with Montreal is they're probably going to be pretty quiet. That free agency, they're going to be quiet. Maybe they take on a bad contract this summer too for futures and all that. But yeah, they're not supposed to be really active today.
Happy Canada Day from New Mexico.
Happy Canada Day.
Should Montreal sign a veteran, replace Edmondson?
I mean, they could, but I don't think they will. They have a lot of good young defensemen. I think they'll probably turn it over to a couple of those young defensemen this year because they have a ton of defensemen coming up.
Colin Miller to New Jersey for 2025 fifth.
Colin Miller, I like him, but that may very well signal that Dallas is looking at making an addition either via another trade or via free agency.
How come Carolina isn't talking about putting an AHL team in Greensboro or Richmond? Anything other than nothing?
Odds are they may be looking at this from a perspective of cost, a perspective of where it would work, and they may just share with someone else for a year and then figure it out down the road. They wouldn't be the first team to do that either.
Any Winnipeg news besides Wheeler?
Nothing yet. Wheeler's gone. Nothing else has happened yet.
Any Lightning or Killorn news or predictions?
I'd be very surprised if Killorn doesn't re-sign with Tampa. I'd be kind of surprised if he doesn't stay there.
Love your channel. Greetings from Finland.
Greetings to Finland. Thank you. So Orlov's still out there. Bertuzzi, Zucker. Killorn is still out there. There's 33 signings so far, and we're about an hour and a half in. Compher's an interesting one, too.
Any Islanders news?
With the Islanders so far, yep, I haven't had to put their logo up yet, so they haven't added anybody yet. But again, I don't see anybody on the board that necessarily moves the needle that much. Although the Preds have picked up Luke Schenn, Ryan O'Reilly, and Gustav Nyquist. So maybe they're not rebuilding. Maybe they just wanted to clear out all that cap space so they could add.
I see a bunch of Orlov to Carolina.
That make a lot of sense. They've been trying to get Carlson. Maybe the price for Carlson was too high and you can get Orlov for free.
to
Wow, $7.75 million. That's a lot.
Yeah, some people, that's an overpay.
That's a lot for Orlov, and that would be why the Bruins could not do it, because they can't afford to do that at all.
Who do you expect the Leafs to sign?
They signed Reeves. There's rumors about others as well, but they don't have a ton of cap space to sign anybody else right now.
Which is more likely, Bertuzzi to New Jersey, or Kane to Dallas?
I would say Bertuzzi to New Jersey would be more likely, because Kane is not playing. He had hip surgery. I don't think a team touches him at this point, because he isn't projected to be ready to play for quite some time. So, I mean, unless he's ahead of the curve, I don't know that he gets a contract today.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day, everyone.
Every year.
Love you guys. Thoughts on Reimer and Lyon in Detroit?
Well, Husso's going to still be the starter. Reimer ends up being the backup, and then you have depth behind them. So you have to have 3 goaltenders in the NHL now. So the Wings have that, and we'll see how it all turns out.
DeBrincat, Horvat, and Barzal is great first line.
I don't know that I would have Horvat on their first line necessarily. I think ideally he would be the second line center, but we'll see how things shake out for them.
Is hockey players having hip problems a relatively new thing?
No. Hip problems have ended careers for as long as I've followed hockey. And it once it starts, it can be really, really tough to deal with. Very often with goaltenders, because it kills your lateral movement. So once you have a bad hip, that can just be a really, really quick ending to your career.
Is the Penguins Cup window closed, and what do they need to add to compete? They seem to need to get bigger and younger, and haven't done that.
Well, they added Riley Smith, which is fine. Smith, I think, will provide them probably with 25 goals and 50 points. They need more overall depth. I think their blue line let them down last year. They need a really reliable starting goaltender. I do think their window is close to winning a Stanley Cup. However, with Dubas, clearly the marching orders for him have been to get them back into contention. So I look at them as a team that's probably going to try to add and move things around. But again, to me, I do think that window is closed.
Saw a rumor on Twitter that the Devils have interest in Killorn. What are your thoughts if he signs there?
Most of the league has interest in Killorn, and I did see that New Jersey rumor as well. Killorn is a really, really solid player who in the playoffs brings his best game, even though he didn't get a goal that one run to the Stanley Cup for Tampa Bay. He was a very useful player for them, and he was generating opportunities.
What do you think the Oilers should do to fix their defense and goaltending?
Well, I mean, for the goaltending side of things, I think Skinner and Campbell probably are still the tandem this coming season. The defense, I think they're going to hope that, Ekholm being there for another year and having him right from the beginning, and then maybe Broberg can take that next step too. So we'll see.
What are the Canucks doing?
Bluger got a 1-year deal from Vancouver. 1 year, one year, $1.9 million. So maybe they see him as that third line center. I don't know if I see Bluger as a third line center, but that's what they were supposed to be looking for today.
There you go. That answered the next question too.
Ian Cole got 1 year, $3 million. So that does away with the cap space.
Thanks for the Fir Coyotes coverage. I hope we can get Ghost back, because we only have 11 skaters, I think, on cap friendly. I think we played pretty good last year.
Goss Despair apparently wanted 3. Well, the last offer from Carolina was in the 3.25 million range, and he turned it down. So it's going to be pricey to get Ghost back, but he played his best hockey in Arizona.
What's your favorite New Jersey Devils jersey you have?
My favorite Devils jersey?
Yes.
The Green Reverse Retro. The Green Reverse Retro is really, really nice. I'd like to see them use that as a third at some point.
Shannon couldn't find his Canada Day hat this morning.
Nope.
It's
in here somewhere. I will find it as soon as this live stream is finished. That's what'll happen. That's what usually happens.
Thoughts on did Gabriel borrow that?
He may have, but it would have been last Canada Day when he borrowed it.
No, for school that one day. Did he, or am I imagining that? Did he pick something else?
No, because he did American.
No, there was the American Day, but there was a different day that they were dressing up.
Maybe.
Something Canadian.
Possible.
Thoughts on Sens' future cup, often overlooked.
The Sens have a team that should be above the playoff line next year. They need to have the right veterans, and they need to have the solid, reliable goaltending. If Korpisalo plays the way he did, say, 3 years ago for Columbus, they have a shot. I don't know about a Stanley Cup, but right now just making it to the playoffs would be a huge step forward for them.
As a Leafs fan, I'm upset we didn't pick up Lucic, but I guess Reeves will do.
Lucic, strictly in a fourth-line role, helps. I think he'll be good for Boston, but I've tempered my expectations with him. I figure it'll be somewhere between 6 goals, 8 goals, probably about 15, 20 points. It's just a one-year deal. So he's not the Lucic he once was, but yeah, I think he's a solid veteran pickup.
Do you think Ovechkin breaks Gretzky's goal record?
Yes. There's a video on the channel from a couple years ago where I said it was just a matter of when, not if. People took issue with that at the time. I don't hear nearly as much arguing. If he just has 2 30-goal seasons, then it basically guarantees he'll make it past Gretzky. I think he could hit 35 goals this year and next year, and yeah, he could do it.
What else do you think Boston does?
Boston, they're cap challenged. They're cap challenged, so I think there's a lot more they would like to do. But yeah, the salary cap makes that difficult.
What does LA do next?
For the Kings, it really was a matter of figuring out the goaltending. Outside of that, they have Dubois now. I mean, you're likely going to see them add depth pieces, but I think they're in pretty good shape.
Luke Schenn gone is really going to hurt us now.
The thing with Schenn, that's an expensive deal. $8.25 million in total over 3 years. That's an expensive deal for Schenn.
At work, watching on YouTube, been watching with the camera zoomed all the way in to try and see the board. One of my favorite streams so far. Love from Florida.
Thank you.
What do you think, Florida? What do you think of the Florida trades so far?
Florida's done all right. I do expect Florida to be active over the summer because of the fact they were in the Stanley Cup final and they're close. It can be really frustrating when your team is that close, but that's where they're at.
Why aren't the Flyers doing anything?
The Flyers are likely going to be quiet today. Remember, there's going to be teams that are at or over the cap now, and all of a sudden the Flyers become a team that can take on money. So that's likely going to be their approach.
Well, Kai says, have a nice day.
Thanks, Kai. I haven't read it yet. I'm sorry.
Do you have a Pekka Radicalio Flames jersey?
You know I do. You could have answered that one. You know I have a Radicalio jersey.
Is your wife on the spectrum? You know, that's not something you generally ask. Thanks. My goodness, people. Anyways.
You're on my spectrum of hotness.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
Yeah.
How bad are the Blues going to be next year? It sucks having no cap.
I think the Blues can bounce back. It's their blue line. If they can fix that blue line, it may not happen today, but if they can make the right deal and get that blue line turned around, I think they can jump back into the playoffs.
What does it say about the Leafs when O'Reilly chose to leave despite money not being an issue?
Well, see, so O'Reilly signs that deal with Nashville for $18 million in total. So that's $4.5 million per season. I don't think Toronto had $4.5 million to give O'Reilly at this point. Plus, that's a 4-year contract for O'Reilly. There's a lot of risk to that contract for Nashville. O'Reilly is not the player now that he was 2, 3, 4 years ago. So I do think that's a risky contract.
Any sense on what the Flames do?
Flames, I think, are probably going to work the phones over the coming weeks. See what the market's like for Hanifin after the free agent market is all done and all tapped out. Teams are going to circle back and look to improve through trade. I think Calgary's going to be plenty busy.
Do you think the Avs will stick with their tandem or try to trade up for more experience?
No, I think they're good. I think what they've got in net with Georgiev and Francouz, I think they're fine. I think that they'll at least run it back for one more year.
Will you be getting a Bluger Canucks jersey?
Of course. What's the point of not? Why wouldn't I have? Like, Bluger's been one of my favorites for ages. Why wouldn't I get a Bluger, even though it's only a 1 year contract? So maybe I should get it where maybe you could attach the numbers in the letter using Velcro. And then just every year when they get like somebody that I like, we could just get new numbers and a new nameplate. And then that way we save money.
Velcro is such a pain to sew. I
Right.
hate sewing Velcro.
So you should
Velcro
you should get
the
on
worst.
That.
The worst. It's
Yeah, you
almost
should
as
get on
bad
that.
as like sewing satin. Awful.
You know what's the best though? Nights and white satin. Because they just never seem to reach the end. There's so many letters that I've written.
Such a dork. Okay.
Never really meant to send them though,
Okay,
and then I accidentally did.
Hello.
You know I love you, right?
Mr. THG.
Yes, I love you.
Okay, anyway. You don't need to do the whole song. Fourth message.
Oh, how I love
this
you.
will be my last today. How good is Columbus?
Their blue line's much better. If Werenski's going to be healthy this fall, I think Columbus could surprise people.
Is the goodest deal good? Carlson over Fantilli video?
Well, I talked about Carlson, and I did the prospect video with him. I did the prospect video on Fantilli. I don't think there's anything else to add to that. The Gudas deal to me is a little bit high, but again, he takes a team. He's with a team that goes to the Stanley Cup final. His asking price is likely going to go up. We'll see if he plays there the whole contract or not. He's a physical defenseman. As I said earlier, they tend to wear down as their careers go along, and that physical game can sometimes fall off. We'll see.
Myers trade today. If not, is Susie possible?
Myers could get traded. I would say tomorrow his value goes up because the signing bonus will have been paid. So for players who have a big contract, but they have a big signing bonus, they all of a sudden become very attractive to a team like a Chicago that wants to get to the cap, the cap floor, because you're not paying a lot of money for the player, but the cap hits high. So Myers' value goes up tomorrow.
What should the Sabres do about goaltending?
The Sabres right now, you've got Devin Levi, you have to think is going to get one of the top two spots. They have UPL there as well. He does project to be one of their goaltenders. And then you've got Comrie still under contract. So maybe they try to move UPL. If they have all that faith in Levi, you can then move Luukkonen, or, maybe you leave Luukkonen in the minors and you go with Comrie and Levi this year. I don't think Luukkonen needs waivers this year.
What do you think of all the big Chicago moves, and where do you think they stand next year?
Chicago's still going to be pretty bad. Chicago, I think the plan is next year they're still going to be pretty bad, and then they'll try to start making improvements after that.
With Seattle re-signing Decord, what happens to Drieger and his bad contract? Does he just sit in Coachella for the last year?
That's likely. They may also try to trade him, and if they can't find somebody to take him on, there is a second buyout window during the summer. Maybe you buy him out during the second buyout window.
Praise our hockey god. Thoughts on Sabaton?
I have no idea. I have no idea who that is.
Okay. Do the Blue Jackets move Roslovic and or any of the excess defensemen? Thanks for all the great videos, Shannon.
I think they'll try. I don't know how much of a market value Roslovic has at this point. They definitely have too many defensemen, I would say by 2 or 3. But again, I don't know what the market is. After free agency's done, you're probably going to have an easier time moving one of those guys.
Hi, Shannon. Longtime fan. Love your streams.
Howdy.
Carson Soucy to the Canucks, 3 years, 3.25 AAV. With Seattle re-signing. Oh, wait, did I get that one? I got that one.
Yep.
Okay.
And Craig Smith goes to Dallas. Yeah, I've already got that on the board.
Okay.
Soucy's on the board. So the Canucks add Soucy and Bluger. They clearly think they're in a spot to take a run at the playoffs next year.
Okay.
Fingers crossed on that one.
It's starting to skip around again.
Cole, Bluger, as well as Soucy. So there's a lot of depth on the blue line there.
Josh Bailey to Ottawa makes sense. Is Teddy Bluger jersey inevitable?
I think so.
Love from Ireland, local team EIHL Belfast Giants.
I have a Belfast Giants jersey in amongst my jersey collection.
Best fans for atmosphere, North American or European?
I like the European, the singing. The singing is always what I like in European and in the football stadiums. Absolutely love that. And so, yeah, I would probably go with European, but again, it might just be because it's not what I'm used to, and it's kind of fun for a change. And I like whistling rather than booing. I think whistling sounds a little more harsh. Oh, Pacioretty goes to the Caps, 1 year, $2 million. That's a very, very good cap hit for Pacioretty. I like that contract a lot. Solid. I'm going to have to get the second board ready here.
Thoughts on what the Preds need to focus on for the rest of the summer?
Well, I mean, the Preds so far today have spent a lot of money. I think now you look at trades. Clearly, they feel they can jump back into the playoffs. They've got some good prospects there too. Trotz maybe wanting to get more of them into the lineup. And yeah, I don't know how much more Nashville has to do.
Super chat for Bear.
Where's Bear?
She was over there earlier.
Oh, she's right behind me.
Oh, that's right. She was there.
Yeah.
Maple was over there.
She's down on the floor.
She's right below this board.
Yep, she's down on the floor. Sleeping where normally the rabbits are too. So
plant.
The rabbits do tend to sleep next to her.
Great videos. Any thoughts on Drouin?
Drouin, the trick for him is staying healthy. Drouin is a really good player when he's healthy. And so for a team to take a chance on Drouin, it's probably going to be a cheaper deal, and he probably has to stay healthy to make it work.
Rabbit cameo. We get questions on Cameo every once in a while. People do ask for.
There she is.
For seeing the cats and the buns in a video.
She's in the litter box, but I think she's asleep. Oh. They sleep with their eyes open, so sometimes it's hard to tell when they're asleep when they're not.
You have to look for their
her
nose
ears aren't
not,
moving, her nose isn't
legging.
moving, so I think she's asleep.
If their noses aren't wiggling, they're asleep. I read that one, right?
Okay. Yep, you got her.
Favorite Tool song?
Schism.
I really like Anima. That's probably my favorite. I also like H. There's a lot of
Anima's fantastic, as well as Lateralis. The song Lateralis is so good, just from that opening beat.
Yeah.
And all the way through to the end.
Oh, show us your guinea pigs. Well, I can't go grab a guinea pig right now.
They're all the way upstairs.
They are upstairs, and they are adorable, and they're so cute. And
have you done any videos yet on the
best sound? They have been
of the guinea pigs?
I have had the guinea pigs in some of the bunny videos.
Okay.
Either when we're upstairs, or I think we did one where
when the piggies were outside.
We brought the piggies outside. Eulogy is a good song.
Eulogy is fantastic.
There's a lot of great Tool songs. I like Tool. Lateralis is one of the best songs of all time. It is a very smart song.
I know a friend of mine that he would play like Guitar Hero and Rock Band and all that. He hated Tool songs
Tool
or Perfect
would be
Circle.
Really, really hard.
Because he asked me at one point, he goes, how do you do this? Because he was trying to do the drums on one of those Rock Band games. And he said, beat. And I think it was Judith.
Signature.
I think it was Judith that was the song that it had from Perfect Circle. And he's like, this is a nightmare to try to figure out. And I said, well,
time signature.
Because the beat changes.
Yep.
They do 5 and 7, don't they?
I don't remember what that one is, but
and I know that the time signature will usually be wrapped up in what the album is. Like the album, they kind of try to keep it the same.
Yeah. Canada Day, July 1st, will be on July 4th, same day as USA back in 1867.
Well, July 1st used to be July 4th. That did used to be a thing. There used to be 2 July 1st. It just confused everybody, so they changed. It was a mistake with the Gregorian calendar, which of course then got switched over to the Italian calendar. By the time it got to the British, it was just a mess.
46-2. That I saw that one live once. That was great.
I think they're playing that one live on this tour.
That would be amazing. I've only seen it once out of the Tool concerts.
I think
I've seen they've
46
had
and
it
2
once.
is one of them.
Do you like 80s hair metal?
I like some, but I
nope.
always hated Poison. I still don't like Poison. I liked Cinderella. I wasn't a fan of Guns N' Roses, although I liked some of their songs. I wasn't a fan of the band, if that makes sense. Yeah, it really depends on the band. And of course, Bon Jovi. Everybody liked Bon Jovi except her.
I
never
definitely
been a fan
did not know.
Bon Jovi.
Devils goalie defenseman depth options.
For goaltender, you still have Nico Dawes. Nico Dawes didn't really come up this year, but he still projects to probably be at least a good backup in the NHL, I would think. So you've still got Schmid, you've still got Vanacek. I think the Devils are okay. There might be some depth additions here and there, sure, but I don't think the Devils need to make any big moves.
Oh, The Pot. That's Malachi's favorite Tool song.
They play that one on this tour too.
I'm not surprised.
I'm disappointed though, because of the songs on that album, that's the only one from Lateralis they're playing.
Because it's the most
Which makes me
popular. Sad. It is the most played song.
But Schism's better.
It's
okay. And Ticks and Leeches is also an excellent song.
I like Ticks and Leeches.
That would be great live.
Do you think Rasmus Andersson could potentially be a Norris contender in the next few seasons if Calgary has a comeback?
I don't think he's going to score enough points to get into the Norris conversation. I do think Anderson is underrated. I don't think he's going to end up in the Norris conversation.
Mayfield a good fit on Oilers?
For the right cap hit, sure. Oh, it's a $4 million contract for Pacioretty. Initially, it said 2.
Thanks for your unbiased Coyotes coverage. Appreciate it.
I do my best.
What is Nashville doing? I don't understand it.
Kyle Burroughs gets a 3-year extension or 3-year contract with San Jose. Good for him. Andreas Englund goes to LA 2 years.
Which Tool song do you not like? That's not a thing.
I was going to say, I don't think that's a thing at all.
Okay, hold on. It skipped. Okay, Canadians sign Carl Alsner to a 5-year contract.
That was a long time ago. So $1 million per.
What Spice Girls song is your favorite, Shannon?
I don't know that I have a favorite Spice Girls song. I mean, there are certain.
Is my mom still on here? She really liked the Spice Girls.
There are certain bands that.
I don't know if she's still on here, though.
I will admit there's guilty pleasure with. I don't know that there's. And I'm just thinking, like, there's never been a Spice Girls song that I've added to my playlist for the treadmill. For Britney, yep. Christina Aguilera, sure. But Spice Girls, nope, never. Pussycat Dolls, sure.
Mayfield, a good fit on the Oilers?
You asked me that one.
Oh, I did.
I think he is for the right price. So 3 years for Burroughs. It's not going to be a very highly priced deal.
What do you think of Vancouver signings? What are your thoughts on the new players?
My only concern with Vancouver is that they're making moves that make it look like they think they're close to the playoffs, and I'm not sure that they are. I want them to be. I want them to be above the playoff line this coming season. I don't know that they're there.
Did I get that one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Hold on.
You're good. You're doing really well.
Did I get that one?
Matt Duchene to Detroit would make some sense. Again, for the right cap hit, Yzerman might be able to talk him into maybe taking a little bit less than he might get somewhere else because Detroit's not that far off.
Oh my gosh. Seeing Tool 94 for $13. Holy moly. I saw them. Dude. I've seen them 4 times. The first time I saw them, I think it was probably 2001. And I remember feeling like those tickets were so expensive at $45.
They are pricey.
$45. And I remember thinking that was so expensive, but it was Tool. So I was willing to do it. But now, yeah, you can't get a Tool ticket for $45.
You can't get a Tool t-shirt for $45.
Do you think Stars will trade Ryan Suter? Also, what's your thoughts on Jamie Benn after what he did in WCF? Should Stars remove his captaincy?
I don't think they're going to remove his captaincy. I do think they want to find a taker for Suter if they can. I would not rule out him being bought out during the second buyout window this summer. I don't think he returns.
Best Rammstein song. Oh my
Deutschland.
gosh.
It's Deutschland.
I wouldn't.
Yours is Mein Herz Brandt.
I do. Yeah, that's probably my favorite. I do really like Rosenrot as well. Yeah,
Rosenrot's a really good song, and it's got a good story behind it as well.
I do really like Rosenrot as well.
It is a $2 million contract. Can they get their together?
I already got that one.
See, they said Pacioretty $2 million, but it was being reported as $4 million elsewhere. Some of those signing bonus things, isn't
it? Happy Free Agent Frenzy Day, or as the rest of the net call it, the day Elon put bandwidth caps on Twitter and claimed it was to stop AI.
Is that what caused Twitter to go down?
Is that what's going on? How did the potato famine influence the changes of the Gregorian calendar for the U.S. to have Independence Day on July 4th instead of the 1st?
So it's an interesting thing with potatoes is that the potato as we know it was invented in, I think it was 1156. Now the Vikings invented it. Now on the day that they invented it, it was July the 4th. So what happened was that they said this is the first day of potatoes as we know it. So that became the first for them. It messed up the calendars. Now the Gregorians, they know how to party. So in the midst of all of their frivolity and their revelry, some mistakes were made, and they're the kind of mistakes we don't want to see them repeat. So hopefully they won't repeat those mistakes later.
Okay. Right? Anyways, thoughts on the Preds so far? I'm confused by the moves, especially since Trotz wanted to get younger and faster.
So you add veteran players to shepherd along the younger players. They've done this at a cap hit that's not bad if that's what you're using them for. But it is a confusing message right now out of Nashville. Trotz clearly has a plan, but it's an odd plan, and it'll be kind of fun seeing how it turns out. Remember, today's just the start. We have a whole summer to go through and find out what the plan is going to be. It could be quite different by the time we hit October.
Shannon does really like Dream Theater. You have to think Orlov and that price in Carolina means Pesce is for sure on the way out, correct? Who would you like to see him on?
I would love to see Pesce on any team I cheer for. I think Brett Pesce is a very, very good defensive defenseman with a little bit of offense in his game as well. And yeah, his expiring contract, I think his cap hits $4.25 million for this year. He's going to want to raise, and for Carolina, apparently they haven't been able to agree on an extension. So we could see him move this summer.
Why couldn't Shannon be my history teacher? I never learned about that in school. Thanks, Shannon.
There's a lot of stuff people
just
don't learn
join
in
the
school.
Stream. What on earth is going on? Is the History Guy channel coming? No, it's not, because people would believe him. There would be people
see my theories
that believe the kind of things he's saying.
I didn't think that was a possibility, but then I saw the resurgence of flat Earth, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm out.
Hello, Shannon and Yvonne. Have you guys heard of the metalcore band called Electric Callboy? They're from Germany and a ton of fun. I think you'd enjoy them.
I don't think we have heard of them.
I don't think I have. I'll have to try and remember to look them up.
Write that down with your phone.
Phones decided to go on strike. Shout out from Idaho. We miss you, Yvonne. That's not a thing.
Idaho definitely misses Yvonne. We regularly get emails from Idaho.
Not
the state. The state emails us en masse.
So not true.
We get offers, sort of like Free Agent Frenzy for $2 million. Would you come and live here? Okay, Denisenko does get. He re-signs with Florida. Giovanni Smith has signed with the San Jose Sharks. And there's Shattenkirk signs in Boston.
There's all these people that haven't been on here and haven't been on here in a while, and they have no idea why you keep talking about Idaho. Shannon's made up a pretend story about my past. So he's
how long were you
like
in
history?
Idaho?
He's made up my life story too.
You grew up in Idaho.
I did not. I absolutely did not.
You were one of the dancing spuds in your school's cheerleading group. You were called the Dancing Spuds.
So not a thing.
And they actually threw potatoes to the children that would be in the crowd.
Sounds like a horrible idea. The Julian calendar lost one day every few decades, which is why the Gregorian calendar came, because the church wanted Easter to fall on the same days.
Okay, so Shattenkirk's in Boston. 1 year, $1 million for Shattenkirk. I'm just going to do
The
this.
evolution of the story is great. It does seem to grow and expand quite frequently, doesn't it?
Well, because I learn more things about history all the time. Like, what did the Vikings do? What are Vikings? Why did they have the horns on their helmet? Why didn't they have horns on their helmet?
They did not have horns.
Why did everybody think they did?
Hmm.
Who were the guys with the horns on their helmet if it wasn't Vikings? Where did these people come from? Was it Thor? Is Asgard really a place? Is it a thing? And if it is, why don't we get to go there? Do they have like tourist packages for Asgard?
Okay.
I want Thor's signature.
How does Justin Hall signing with the Red Wings affect Austin Matthews' legacy?
Everything ties back to Matthews. I will say this. I do think that Hall took a lot of criticism in Detroit or in Toronto that I don't think he'll take in Detroit. I think people were overly critical. I'm not saying he's a great defenseman, but I think he has the potential in Detroit to really, really bounce back and just play his game and not under the same microscope. Detroit fans are pretty passionate too, but not like Toronto.
Could you put something for the Blue Jackets if possible?
I mean, if they
they like move. Should he make it up?
Should I make stuff up?
Or... Oh like my gosh, we'd never see the end of that.
Sugimoto moved, or
a lot of other YouTube channels do it, so we could start making up our own.
I don't do the rumors and speculation. I don't do
that. Just saw Alex Lyon to Detroit. Is this real?
Absolutely. So they have 3 goaltenders now in Detroit, and that's probably how they wanted it. And I agree with them. I cannot argue with having 3 goaltenders.
Thank you both for the consistent NHL coverage. You've done more to make the game accessible than any network. Thoughts on Pens in on Karlsson?
It'd be a tough trade for the Penguins because they want to be contenders. They don't have as much depth as I think you would need to make that trade for Karlsson, unless there was some kind of. But again, looking at the blue line in Pittsburgh, what blue liner would you give San Jose? It'll be interesting to see what he goes for. And how you make the cap money work, because Pittsburgh's not in a great cap position either. Most of the league isn't, put it that way.
Do you think these cheap contracts by Boston give a Bertuzzi return more likely? Also, if you've ever heard of Greta Van Fleet, do you like them?
I don't listen to Greta Van Fleet because I already have Zeppelin. So since I already have Zeppelin albums, I don't generally listen to Greta, because anytime they're on the radio, I'm like, oh, that part sounds kind of like Kashmir. There's some whole lot of why don't I just listen to Zeppelin? I don't want to listen to a band that reminds me of everything else.
Skip the Bertuzzi part.
Which part?
Do you think these cheap contracts by Boston give a Bertuzzi return more likely?
Not necessarily, because Boston's giving a cheap contracts because they don't have any cap space. Bertuzzi's going to get paid today.
Thoughts on Karlsson to Kraken possibly?
Seattle makes a lot of sense because Seattle would have the cap space to make it work. Seattle also, a good team. He wants a chance to win, but trading Karlsson in the division, I don't think that's what San Jose would ideally want. Okay,
Connor Sheary to Tampa. Okay.
Yeah, I've got a live tracker on my phone that's open, so I'm just looking at the TSN live tracker. That gives me the cap hit too. Hailing gets $1.4 million from the Philadelphia Flyers for a 1-year deal. I haven't seen with Giovanni. Oh, I had an extra.
Are we allowed to do fireworks? We go to a fireworks show.
You have to have a permit.
We don't. It's not like in the States where everybody has fireworks and everybody's setting them off. It's very, very different. There are not children in the streets playing with explosives or anything like that. I don't see people doing their own fireworks on Canada Day. The only time I see people doing their own fireworks is on Halloween or Diwali, but not for Canada Day.
$800,000 a season for Giovanni Smith, 2-year deal. No argument with that. San Jose signs him.
Will Engvall be a 20-goal scorer for the Isles?
If he plays like he did at the end of the year, yes. But traditionally in his career, he hasn't really produced at that rate. But I do think that the potential's there.
Since Idaho didn't match the qualifying offer to bring Yvonne back, the Commonwealth of Kentucky will be in touch for an offer.
That'd be great because I
No.
like horses. So if we could be in Kentucky, that'd be great because they have the Derby. I assume that's like the highlight of the year for Kentucky. That like they have a 365-day calendar that's based around the Kentucky Derby. That's what I would think, anyways.
Thoughts on a Freddy Krueger sweater for the Wild?
I have a Freddy Krueger sweater, so if they ever actually went to something similar to that, it is one thing with the red and green. I know there's Minnesota fans that like to see the red go away and see them go back to the Minnesota North Stars colors.
Disagree.
I don't think they'll ever go back to the North Stars colors, but
I hope not.
I've heard that the reverse retro from this past season will be their third jersey next year.
Okay. Fast, Ranta, Anderson, Orlov, Bunting think the Canes will keep Pesce. $7.3 million left, and Pesce is 4.25 cap hit. Would be a great pickup for anyone.
Yeah, I think Pesce gets moved. I'd be kind of surprised if he doesn't get moved. I like what the Canes have done today. We'll see if they do trade Pesce.
The dynamics you two have beat any of the TV coverage. Happy Canada Day.
You know what's driving me nuts? Okay, so the Senators re-signed Eric Brandstrom today, but they have it spelled EIRK on the Sportsnet ticker. It's been spelled that way for over an hour. If somebody at Sportsnet could fix that, say Eric Brandstrom instead of Irk Brandstrom, that'd be great. I fixed my spelling error quickly after yesterday's video went up. It's the least they can do. Get on it, Sportsnet. It's not Irk, which reminds me of Dirks with Letterkenny. When Miss Katie's dating an American.
Oh, I see that people are making up how things are in Canada. Cool. I can tell you guys aren't Canadian.
That's usually the case.
Carolina makes moves. What do you think about the Orlov signing?
That's pricey. However, it's only a 2-year deal. So as long as it works within their cap structure, as long as Don Waddell's done the math for the next 2 years and said, we can afford to do this, this will work, it's not a big deal. 2-year contract is nowhere near as bad as if it was a 6 or 7-year contract. But the Bruins could not have afforded that contract.
We don't have any forest fires here. Those are east.
They're in the east, yeah.
But that's part of why most people don't do fireworks here, because it is a fire hazard, especially in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
I see a lot of Americans seem to be offended that we don't all have fireworks, but our animals appreciate it.
I would not.
And the forest
I would not trust
fires
myself with fireworks.
Appreciate it. I also like not having my children playing with explosives.
True.
But
yes,
there's other ways to celebrate the holiday, but that's my opinion.
Yeah,
you do not have to be offended
by on me Canada not Day, you have the option,
everybody blowing things up.
You have the option on Canada Day of getting really drunk and drunk dialing an ex and saying something stupid. That's always an option.
We have so many rights in Canada. If you don't think we have rights, maybe you should look at what that actually means. Because, yeah. All right.
I don't know. I went out earlier today and King Charles was ready to push me around.
Oh, my goodness.
Did me one of these and I had to go back in the house. There's still like the royal carriage out in front of our house. So apparently we're on the radar. Sorry, Charles.
We do have the right to get affordable medicine. It's kind of cool. I'm appreciative of that. You have the right to protest as well. That's absolutely a right that we have in Canada.
Yep.
You just can't do Nazi salutes when you're protesting. That part
that
not
gets you arrested.
Protected.
Gone. That's gone. Yeah.
Goodness. Who do you think Detroit picks up?
Well, Detroit so far. So let me go back to board number 1. Because we've got 2 boards. Detroit so far, they've added Reimer. They kept Costin. So Costin at $2 million per season seems a little bit high, but it's not bad. And Reimer at 1 year, $1.5 million. That's a pretty decent pickup for them. So I like what they've done so far.
Nope, our rights aren't being eroded. You can take that somewhere else. We don't have freedom of speech. That's an American thing.
Yeah, we never had that.
We have freedom of expression. So hate speech is not protected.
Nope.
Freedom of speech is American.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right.
So Connor Sherry to Tampa Bay.
Enough of that. You guys are being ridiculous.
Okay, yeah, we can just knock that part of the conversation off.
If we could move on. No, we don't have freedom of speech. That's an American thing. We have freedom of expression. No. Feel free to look up how Canada works. We are a different country than the States.
We've never had freedom of speech.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Niche, but my favorite anthem singer, I say Sonia TK for Tampa Bay.
She's good. My favorite anthem singers would still be Carnell down in down in Vegas. There's a good anthem singer. I love, of course, Boston's anthem singer is good, even though he's not Rene Rancourt. I miss Rene Rancourt. There are some iffy anthem singers. There are a couple that I might mute, but I don't get into that videos. But there are some interesting ones. So far, 45 signings to a total of $179 million. So the average cap hit isn't bad for all of the contracts, but some of the bigger names are still out there.
We don't have Canadian bacon. That is an American thing. What Americans call Canadian bacon, we don't even have an equivalent.
Isn't it just back bacon?
We have back bacon. Canadian or American Canadian bacon is ham.
Okay.
It's little bits of ham. We don't have. We have ham here, but it's not in little circles. So, oh my gosh, you guys are being ridiculous. Nope. Anyways,
Zucker's $5.1 million is what they're projecting he'd be worth.
Sports and politics do not mix well ever.
Nope. Agreed.
Politics has been in sports as long as there's been sports, though. Sebastian Aho or Sebastian Aho?
Well, Aho is a better goal scorer. Aho defensively is better than Aho. I would say that obviously Aho is going to make a ton of money in his career. Aho is going to be decent. He'll probably earn himself a decent level of pay as well, but Aho is truly the better of the two.
Do you think Vegas makes any more moves?
Vegas being up against the cap makes it difficult, and I don't know that they need to make a lot more moves.
American Canadian bacon is ham. Yes, we don't have anything that looks like American Canadian bacon here.
So for Boston, it's been Van Riemsdyk, Geeky, and Shattenkirk.
Any thoughts on where Vladdy Tarasenko lands?
Tarasenko is a tough one to predict because I do think that Tarasenko at this point in his career is better off being seen as a second or third line player. He may want to get paid more than that. He may not be somebody who gets signed on day one. We often see a lot of players getting signed on day 2 or day 3. And I don't think Tarasenko would necessarily feel rushed. And then it depends on, does he want to win a Stanley Cup or does he want to earn the most money? Because those two things are probably not going to work in concert.
The movie Canadian Bacon is great. That movie is hilarious. Love you too. Next to my own son, Shannon, you are my most trusted source for both hockey news and insight. Love that cute purple bunny, Vaughn. Thank you.
Yeah, it's weird.
Pardon?
Huh?
Well, it's not your hair, so.
Yeah, I guess. But still.
Why the fan hate towards Reinbacher? Best 18-year-old defense here in Switzerland since Roman Josi, and he is NHL ready. Do you agree?
I don't know how NHL ready he is. However, I think the reason that people are mad about that is because of some of the big name forwards that were out there. The perception that they could have got Reinbacher if they traded down, but teams don't generally trade down or trade up now like they used to. The concept being, if a player is available that you want, you just take him and you don't worry as much about where he's projected to go. It will be interesting to see looking back on this, say 5-10 years from now, will it look like a really smart decision? Will it look iffy? Reinbacher should be a top 2 defenseman in the NHL, but again, it's just perceived that this is a really, really loaded draft.
Has Ottawa done anything?
Ottawa picked up Korpisalo, 4 years, 5 years, $4 million per season. Outside of that, I haven't seen anything with the Ottawa Senators. Most recent one here on the TSN feed is the Connor Sherry deal.
Have the Flames signed anyone today?
The Flames have been quiet so far. It doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, but so far they've been pretty quiet.
Erik Karlsson to Pittsburgh. Thoughts?
I mentioned this earlier. Getting Karlsson to Pittsburgh, I don't know if you have enough assets or the right assets for Pittsburgh to offer San Jose that would work. I don't think if you're Pittsburgh, you should be giving up first-round draft picks right now. Because again, you missed the playoffs this year. You don't want to be giving up a top prospect next year or 2 years down the road. I think with Karlsson, Pittsburgh it's a spot where I think he'd like to play. I think Crosby would love to have him on the team, obviously. I just don't know how you make it work. Will
the salary cap go up substantially in 2024?
The salary cap next year is projected as going up by probably $4 million. It could be more than that. It could end up being $5 million or more. It really depends on what the revenues for the league are this year.
Are you surprised Yamamoto hasn't been signed?
No. Yamamoto had a rough year. Young forward, yes, but he had a really rough year, and he's one of those ones teams will probably circle back on if they miss out on somebody else.
What comes on an Egg McMuffin if there's no Canadian bacon? Ham.
Yeah, it's ham.
We have ham.
Yeah, it's ham.
What does Yvonne's new contract look like? Does she have a no trade clause?
I wouldn't say no trade. Some days there's no movement. I don't know that but there's definitely, no movement is definitely an option for her on some days.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know I had that option.
Yeah. I'll just go upstairs and be like, are you gonna? No, I'm not leaving my spot here. I'm good. You can deal with that yourself. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
Dork.
And then she tells me to close the door as I leave, and then that's it. Nico Mikkola is off to the Florida Panthers. That's pricey for Mikkola. $2.5 million a year for 3 years.
Where do you think Matt Duchene goes?
Duchene's it's gonna be a question with him too. Does he want to make the money or does he want to win? Because the teams that are ready to win likely won't be able to offer him the same amount of money. We'll see if he goes today or if it takes a little while longer.
Love McDonald's breakfast. So happy they brought back the steak, egg, and cheese down here in the States. Not sure if you have it up here. We don't have that up here.
No. There's a lot of fun stuff they have with the bakery, the American version too.
They're very the McDonald's are quite different. Other than the main things on the menu, the other things are totally different.
It's one of my favorite things about staying at Disney is being able to just hop over to McDonald's across the street. Although with where we're staying this time, this is going to be different.
That's one of your favorite things about Disneyland?
About where we stay.
Is the McDonald's outside?
Just about where we stay. Because then I can have like the cinnamon rolls, which are fantastic. The cinnamon rolls are so good and they don't have anything like that up here.
We don't have that here.
No.
Hello guys, better late than never. Have the Sharks made any moves? Hello from Anaheim.
So the Sharks pick up Giovanni Smith. They've also picked up Kyle Burrows. I didn't see the cap hit on Burrows at the time. Oh, it's $1.1 million per season. Well, good for him. Burrows is headed to San Jose, and they've lost Nieto. Nieto goes to the Penguins. $1.1 million.
Disneyland is awesome. I love Disneyland.
Disneyland is excellent.
It's great.
Can't wait to go back again. $1 million for Craig Smith to Dallas.
What moves can the Capitals make to improve their offensive depth?
The Caps have picked up Pacioretty today. That's going to help. And then it might be a matter of trying to figure things out via trade. So that's quite possibly where it ends up. They're already showing the Canucks roster and how it may look for next year. I don't think Bluger's the answer as the third line center. And I say that as a guy who I hope Bluger bounces back, but I don't know about him at the third line spot. I'd prefer him in the fourth line, but I don't know that Amon has third line upside either.
Is Ryan Reeves to Toronto a good deal?
It's pricey, and considering he's going to be 37 pretty quick here, it basically keeps him there until he's 40. There's risk to that contract. There's absolute risk to that contract, and he provides no offense. The offense is not there. So in the bottom six, you're adding a guy who can throw some hits and has toughness, but it doesn't provide them with that depth scoring that they need. They need to add depth scoring in the offseason.
Do you think Tampa can keep Killorn?
They can. He hasn't signed anywhere yet. The fact that they've signed Sherry, I don't know if that makes it more or less likely that they end up keeping Killorn. I know that cap-wise, they're really up against it, though. They want to keep Chanot. They want to keep Killorn. That's part of the reason they traded Colton. We'll see how it turns out.
What happened with Ryan Graves?
Graves is on the market. He didn't have a great year for New Jersey this year. And so, he's young enough to bounce back. But for Graves, New Jersey's just, looking to, become a Stanley Cup champion. And I guess they figured Graves wasn't going to be the guy to get him there.
Did the Flames make any trades?
Nothing yet. There's been a couple of minor deals. I'm not putting trades on the board. That's for a news video for later, but nothing with Calgary yet.
Who do the Penguins get for a goalie? Oh, people are wanting you to switch the boards now.
So Jari's still out there as a free agent. I wouldn't be surprised if they keep him. I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh keeps Jari and DeSmith as the goaltending tandem for this year, because Anderson's off the market, Ronta's off the market, Reimer's off the market, Talbot's off the market. Like your Korpisalo, your options are small. I think you kind of have to keep Jari.
The pair says cheers.
Cheers to you as well.
I wonder how much Jari is going to get.
Jari, it'll probably be, probably around $4 million. You'd have to think probably $4 million.
Devils fan, what can you tell me about Colin Miller?
Colin Miller had a good year with Dallas, which was important because he'd had a couple of iffy years before that. Miller's fine on a third pairing. If they use him for anything higher than a third pairing, they may not be as happy with the results, but third pairing defenseman, he should be fine.
Vancouver, thanks for taking Susie. Best of luck with that.
Susie, they've been high on Susie for a while. He provides them with the defense, and they need to improve the blue line. Clearly, the defense was not good last year at all. Got better after Tocchet took over. It still wasn't good enough. So this is with penalty kill in mind. This is with defense in mind. Delia signs with the Jets.
Thoughts on Talbot to LA?
There's no cost really. Like, it's a $1 million contract, so there's no risk to the LA Kings. I think it's a good signing.
Thoughts on Cherry Coke Zero?
I love Cherry Coke Zero. So Delia, it's league minimum. We'll see if they sign anybody else. His play with Vancouver was good in the beginning, but by the end of the season, it just didn't look like it was going to work for him.
Do you think Chicago is still shopping for UFAs, and is Domi a possibility?
Domi's the one that I could see them bringing back. Outside of that, I don't think they'll be very active today. They don't need to be.
Hi again. Several insiders saying talks are extremely hot between EK and Pittsburgh. Three-way trade being worked out. This would be huge.
A three-way deal would probably be the best way to get it done, because then one team's taking on some of that cap money. Chicago could be that team. Arizona could be that team. But yeah, we'll see if he gets traded, what the return is. That'd be a fun video to do, because the last time Carlson got traded, that video had a ridiculous amount of views. So we'll see if that's the case again.
Thoughts on Nico Mikkola?
Mikkola, it's expensive. That's an expensive cap hit for Mikkola, $2.5 million per season, and he didn't have a great year last year. So Florida must see something there. We'll see. There are some pricey contracts today.
Are you a Don Cherry fan?
Don, like, back in the 80s, sure, but it felt like as time went on, was more rambling. And so I didn't pay as much attention. I didn't feel like Coach's Corner was as instructional later on as it was early on with him. It felt like there was more, here's where, this guy loses his coverage. Here's where this should be done differently. And then it just kind of turned into rants towards the end of it there.
Look through both of your channels, but no top 10 hockey movie list.
I don't know that there's 10 movies I would qualify as hockey that I've enjoyed. A lot of the time, hockey movies like Sudden Death, I hated Sudden Death. That movie was dumb. So I don't know where that would go on the list. That movie was just so just dumb. You know, Threat Level Midnight?
Oh yeah.
Like that. It's so they got, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's very much Threat Level Midnight, but not as funny.
Yeah, thank goodness. Okay. Do you think Bluger will help improve the Canucks' power kill?
Penalty kill.
Penalty kill.
Yes, yeah, and that's the important thing is that yes, he should help the penalty kill. They desperately need that, and so that should absolutely help. Brady Keeper goes to Montreal. I'm not putting this on the board, but he gets league minimum. I'm guessing that's a 2-way contract for Keeper. They also signed Philippe Mellet.
I'm a Flyer fan living in Calgary. Are all my hockey hopes doomed?
I wouldn't say doomed. I think doomed is overstating it. I don't know that Calgary is going to be in a contending position anytime soon. But if they make the right moves, if Craig Conroy makes the right moves this summer, they could be right back in the playoffs.
Bertuzzi to Colorado?
That could work for scoring depth. The problem is I think Bertuzzi's asking price is probably pretty high.
Miles Wood to Colorado. Heischer and Bratt, now the longest tenured Devils. LOL.
Yeah, I saw that. I think it was Amanda Stein that pointed that out, that they would be the longest tenured Devils. But that's what happens when you come out of a rebuild.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, it's fine.
Miracle is a highly overrated movie.
Miracle's fine. Again, most hockey movies, they range from bad to fine.
Mighty Ducks.
I don't like the Mighty Ducks. I've been very vocal about my not liking the Mighty Ducks.
Goon.
Goon's okay. I've watched Goon, I think the one time. I don't think I've watched it twice. And again, it's okay. It's fine. But again, I couldn't very well do a top 10 list where I'm kind of like, yeah, so this one's kind of dumb, but it's number 8. This one's kind of that's number 7. Like, that just wouldn't work for a list.
Morning, guys. 4 a.m. here on the Aussie East Coast. So just catching up on all the news so far. Thoughts on what the Blues have done so far?
They haven't overpaid. There are teams right now that haven't made a move that I actually think it might be the smart thing to do. There are some contracts here that, to me, look pricey. I will definitely talk about it in the recap video I'll do once we're done with the live stream. But yeah, there's some interesting moves out there.
Did you watch Shoresy?
Of course. I can't wait for season 2. I've got a Blueberry Bulldogs jersey. So yeah, Shoresy's like absolutely awesome.
Could Spencer Martin work as the Canucks backup as long as he doesn't get thrown into the starter position again? Would be an issue if Demko gets hurt.
Spencer Martin, by all accounts, whether you're looking at regular stats or advanced stats, had the worst season of any goaltender in the National Hockey League last year. I do not think Spencer Martin works. Not only that, when Martin was sent down to Abbotsford here, Silovs became the starter. Martin wasn't even starting a majority of the games. So to me, Silovs has passed him on the depth chart. I don't think Martin is an NHL goaltender.
Slapshot.
Slapshot's okay, but it's very overrated. Slapshot, I mean, there's a couple of moments that kind of make me chuckle. There's him harassing the goaltender is one of the funniest scenes ever, but generally the movie's kind of, I don't know, it's okay.
The Flying V is an offside play.
Yes.
We've been to games where people do the Flying V. They should do the Flying V. And Shannon's just shaking his head.
That's when I'll be right next to her and I'll be texting her. So there's times we're at a hockey game where I'll be texting her because I can't say it out loud what I want to say. Because we have a fan behind us or next to us or in front of us that's driving me insane and I can't say anything.
A Slapshot, very dated.
There was the one time that we went to a Canucks game and the guy behind us hadn't watched hockey very much. So the guy next to him was trying to teach him stuff and everything he was teaching him was wrong.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so painful.
Saying
is so
Slapshot
painful.
is overrated is sacrilege.
No.
Nah.
No, I've watched Slapshot once because I kind of had to, because it's a hockey movie. I kind of had to watch it. I've never had the desire to watch it again. The only movie with hockey in it that I can watch over and over and over again is Happy Gilmore. And that's because he jerseys the guy. Ball wouldn't go in the hole. One the ball wouldn't go in. Grab him, one pull and punch. That's just absolutely perfect.
Mystery Alaska.
It's okay. Mystery Alaska is an okay movie. It would probably be top 5 on the hockey movies that I've watched. But again, do I have a passion? Like if I'm going to do lists, to me, it has to be something that I have a passion or I really enjoy, right? And so, yeah, hockey movies aren't something I really have had a passion for, and I don't think it would make for a very engaging video.
Youngbloods.
Youngblood drives me insane. Youngblood absolutely drives me insane. That movie is just so off the charts ridiculous. Ice Guardians, I don't think I've watched the Ice Guardians one. That's about the Enforcers. I haven't watched that one.
Sorry if I missed it, but where do you think DeBrincat goes?
For the Sens, I don't think there's any rush to trade DeBrincat just yet. I think he will end up with a team that needs help with some scoring on the wing, but also has pieces that they can offer Ottawa that makes it work for Ottawa. Ottawa can't just trade DeBrincat for futures and prospects or anything. His contract is also going to be really pricey, so it has to be a team that either has the cap space or signs him, and at the same time they make a trade to keep themselves under the cap. So it's probably going to be pretty complicated with DeBrincat wherever he ends up.
Miracle?
As I said, like Miracle's okay. With hockey movies, I don't find the need to watch them over and over again. Maybe we need a hockey horror movie, because usually horror movies are the ones I want to watch repeatedly.
What about Mighty Ducks animated series? Has absolutely nothing to do with hockey.
I don't think Mighty Ducks has anything to do with hockey.
Jason wearing an old school goalie mask makes those movies have better hockey content than 99% of hockey movies.
True, especially Friday the 13th Part 3. That movie's great. I made you watch that
one.
Oh,
Inside Out. There you go. It has quite a bit of hockey in it.
Actually, it does.
Not a direct hockey movie, but has hockey in it.
Yeah, Inside Out's a very good movie.
It does. Yeah.
Did you already ask the other?
I did. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Friday the 13th.
Okay, so the Sens signed Garrett Pilon. Pilon scored, I think it was the series winner in the Calder Cup final for Hershey. So that's a move they make for the Binghamton Senators.
Have you watched MVP, Most Valuable Primate?
Oh, that was bad. Didn't that have Joey from Friends in it?
Don't ask me.
I think that one had Joey from Friends in it.
The right person to ask. Oh, the documentary Red Army. That was interesting.
Yes. Yeah, we watched that one. I rented that one. We watched it. Okay, so now they're talking about whatever there. Hockey Central's only on for a few more minutes here. So there's still a lot of names out there. We won't keep the live stream going much longer. But there's still a lot of names out there that I've yet to sign.
Duchesne to Stars. Yep, Duchesne to Dallas. There's a few people saying that one. How do you feel about the Avs picking up on Colton and Johansson? Where do you see them fitting in the lineup?
Johansson, I think they want him to be the second line center. I don't know if that's going to work, though. I don't know if he's a second line center anymore in the NHL. Injuries has taken a toll on his foot speed. I do like the addition of Colton. I think the Avs are in good shape.
Can you explain the Pacioretty contract? Is the cap hit $2 million or $4 million?
I've seen both. I've honestly seen both. So that's one of those things that we'll find out. Maybe there's a signing bonus attached to that. Okay, so it's 1 year for Duchesne, $3 million.
Somebody's saying 2 years, $2 million AAV.
Yeah, what I'm seeing here is Duchesne. Oh, Tokarski re-signed in Buffalo as well, $775,000, so league minimum.
There you go. Clerks is more of a hockey movie than Happy Gilmore.
Well, Clerks does
more. I don't know if it's more.
You can't even pass. Don't pass it to this guy. He sucks. Why don't you get up here? Get this guy a stick. which means they brought extra sticks, which is nice.
Thoughts on the Panthers
But they only
moves
brought one
so
ball.
far?
The Panthers, so it's interesting. So you got Mikkola. I think the Mikkola deal's a little bit pricey. The Orlov deal to me looks a little bit pricey as well. We'll see how it all works out for them. Clearly, they took seriously the fact that they're going to be missing some key defensemen to start the season, and they've spent a lot of money to fix that.
Wayne's World does have street hockey in it. This car.
Yep. Which we have a whole generation now that doesn't do that. The kids next door when they're outside when a car's coming through, I haven't heard car.
No, they keep standing in the middle of the road, and I drive really slowly, and they'll slightly move so that they're like this far from my mirrors.
They're like non-playable characters on Grand Theft Auto.
Gosh,
Grand Theft Auto. My favorite thing on Grand Theft Auto is I can drive down the sidewalk and people just keep walking, even while I've run somebody over and there's blood on the hood. People just keep walking. I'm thinking, there's a car behind me and there's blood on the hood. I'm letting him go. I'm moving out of the way. Not in Grand Theft Auto. So maybe the kids have played some Grand Theft Auto and figure that's how things work.
There you go. Is Wayne's World the greatest hockey movie of all time? Methinks yes.
It's party time. It's excellent. So it definitely made Bohemian Rhapsody go right back up the chart.
Yeah, it did.
My brain almost exploded when a friend of mine said to me one day, she's like, I really like that new song from Queen. And I was like, Freddie Mercury passed away years ago. What are you talking about? Oh, that new one that they sing in Wayne's World. And I was like, the one from 1974? That new song? Dear Lord. But there were a lot of people, I guess, that hadn't heard it. So it went right back up the charts.
Pacioretty is $2 million with $2. No,
$2
million
performance
bonus.
All right. I'm gonna go through these boards, and after it's all done, I'm gonna go over to Cap Friendly with all this and definitely update the board. But yeah, Pacioretty, even if it is $4 million with performance bonuses, absolutely worth it. Could end up being a steal. Cap's made a good move there. Oh, did you want to watch the Blue Jays game next?
I really don't. How is Nashville doing?
Nashville's spent a lot of money. So Nashville spent a lot of money. I do wonder about a couple of the moves, in that O'Reilly gets 4 years. That's a lot of term for O'Reilly. And then as well, they give Shen 3 years at $8.25 million in total. And then Nyquist gets 2 years. I think his is $3.3 million approximately in cap hit. So yeah, it's a lot of money. I don't know how much better Nashville is with that. Hey, Bon.
Ain't she so pretty?
Little tuft. There, I got it.
Are you shedding?
A little bit.
Of course. It's summer.
A little bit.
Do the Sabres get a top goalie like Yari?
I don't know if they're in on Jari at this point. Again, they have Comrie under contract. They have UPL. They have Levi. There'd have to be some kind of a move there that would work. Like maybe Pittsburgh would take Luukkonen if that was an option.
It is sweet baby.
But yeah, Jari's a free agent. They could pick him up, and then maybe something happens there. But we'll see. Hey, Bon.
Isn't she sweet? She's so pretty.
Hi, my baby. How are you, Bon?
Is Vegas going to stand pat?
Vegas again. They don't have a lot of cap space, so we'll see.
She's shedding so bad. All of the buns are shedding.
And then, yeah, like I said, I'll go through and just do all the cap hits.
Connor Brown
Cap Friendly
is another example. Cap hit is $775, not $4 million, due to bonuses via Cap Friendly. This is Cinnabon.
She's the only rabbit that's not outside because she doesn't want to be outside. I don't know what it is, so I'm going to give her a day today where she's not outside, and then we'll try putting her outside again.
Just having
tomorrow,
a chill day
because she doesn't want to be outside. 2 days in a row that she's wanted to come in early, so I may start taking her for walks. She might want to look. She's more of an adventurer. She might be bored of the enclosure. She might want to look around other places, so I may try taking her for a walk. We have a harness for her, don't we?
We do. Yeah, Adelaide takes them for walks. Her and Waffles, she'll take them out to the field. I
might take her for a walk and see if that helps.
Twitter is down. Any updates on EK65?
Nothing yet. And I did hear Twitter was down. I haven't been able to refresh anything, so we'll see. But yeah, Carlson, there might be something working with the Penguins, but we haven't seen yet.
Are you saying put me down? I want to go play. Is that it?
She's more comfortable in that position. This isn't the put me down yet. This is close. This is where she's thinking about put me down. Oh, Drake Caggiula goes back to the Oilers. 2 years, league minimum.
Cinnabon, I watched Shannon's video on the bunnies, and she has my favorite name besides Pickle. This is not the blind bunny. The blind bunny is the gray one that has the ears that stick straight out like she's about to take off.
Yeah. Yeah, Waffles. Waffles is the blind one. No, she sees really well.
Any rumors on the Islanders?
I haven't heard anything yet. Obviously, one of the interesting ones is Varlamov hasn't been signed yet. Archibald signs with Tampa Bay.
Thoughts on Sprong to Detroit?
Sprong at a decent cap hit makes sense. The one thing with Sprong is, and I've mentioned this today, that there was talk about his skating that I've seen in the past. There's been talk about his defensive play that I've seen in the past. But with the right cap hit, he could be a very good player.
Oh, somebody missed the bun. They wanted to see the bun again. We do have it's the cat Instagram, but there's a lot of bunny pictures on there. And then on the entertainment guy, we put bunny videos every once in a while. Yep. So if you need to see more buns, and there Lars just linked it. If you need to see more bunnies or kitties, it's on videos on the entertainment guy and pictures. And sometimes I do tiny little videos on their Instagram.
Yep.
Because we know they're way more entertaining than watching us.
Oh, absolutely. If I could train one of these bunnies to talk and present videos, I could just retire, because who wouldn't want to watch a bunny present a video?
I know, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of adorable.
They don't talk yet.
They don't listen really well either.
No.
Has Duchesne been taken yet?
Duchesne is with Dallas. He signed a 1-year contract for $3 million. So Dallas picks him up. $3 million's a really solid cap hit, and we'll see how it goes.
How do you guys make sure your cats don't escape outside? I have our backyard completely enclosed. We do have a high wooden fence, so Maple's the only one we have to watch. She has jumped and walked along the fence.
She is a climber.
But yeah, we have it completely enclosed, and they only get to be outside if somebody is outside with them. We do not leave our cats outside.
And there's no chance
unattended.
I can't see Shadow leaving the yard.
No, yeah, it's only Maple.
Bear would not leave the yard.
Maple is the only one because she's
Pixel just goes outside to roll around and get as dirty as possible.
Pixel likes to roll around in dirt.
You pet her after, and you're just like, wow, this is like petting a cat made of sand. This is nice.
She's so happy. She will just be purring and rolling in dirt.
Her fur's just gray, but she is the happiest cat.
Shadow will find there's a little kind of an incline to go into our shed, and Shadow will slide on his back.
The funniest thing with Pixel was the other day when Maple was trying to jump in the window, and I told her off and put her down. And Pixel started purring immediately. She was so happy to see me telling another cat off. Nobody petted her, nobody looked at her. She just started purring.
To Arizona?
Well, I'm surprised Arizona would make that addition. Matt Irwin goes to the Canucks. Yeah, $5.3 million. So the Arizona Coyotes are in a unique position. They can afford to spend that kind of money. Zucker, decent player. I sometimes see him as kind of overrated, but we'll see how things go for him in Minnesota. And it's $5.3 million for the 1 year.
Two is that right-handed defense on top defensive pair in Pittsburgh. If Carlson manages to get traded there, hard to see him or Letang on second or third pair.
And that's the problem. That's what negatively impacted Carlson in San Jose, was having Burns and Carlson both. It didn't seem to help either of them. 5.3 million.
Have the Leafs done anything today?
Ryan Reeves has been added to the Toronto Maple Leafs, so that's not nothing. We'll see how it goes for him. So yeah, Irwin added by the Canucks. that may very well just be their number 7 defenseman. Replace what Burrows was doing for them this year.
Twitter isn't down. Unverified users are now limited to 600 tweet views per day. Well, that's one way to get more money, I guess.
That's one way to make sure everybody leaves Twitter, really.
Well, you know.
I'm not paying for Twitter. So
are the Canucks a playoff team now?
No. I don't think that adding a couple of defensemen and Teddy Bluger up front make a huge difference. I think the Canucks envision themselves as being in the playoffs this year. I'm not. I don't see it, but hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully they get back in the playoffs, but they're definitely approaching free agency like they're close, and I don't know that they are.
Okay. Do you think Vancouver is done aside from goaltending? Wonder if they ever considered Taves for a third center role at a cheap cap hit, if he'd ever sign there.
And we have no idea if he's going to play. I think that Bluger likely is the one that they're going to try at the number 3 center spot. I hope that works. Bluger, the offense was not there in Pittsburgh, and then it was not there in Vegas either. You need scoring in your bottom 6. I don't know that he adds that for them.
Just waiting for you to announce a Max Domi signing. I have a $100 bet with a friend. He returns to Chicago.
I think he will. I'd be kind of surprised if he doesn't. All right, so Bunting officially is off to Carolina. So that's officially official and all that. That's another Carolina. I'm going to run out of Carolina logos at some point.
You will not. You have so many magnets.
I'll run out of the Carolina one. So Bunting gets 3 years, $4.5 million per.
Toronto is losing so much and gaining so little today.
I think with Toronto, you have to hope that some of the younger players or a guy like Holmberg maybe can play an expanded role. You have to give an opportunity for young guys to play. I think it was short-sighted that Sandin ended up being out. You need to give Liljegren a shot at playing more regularly.
What teams are you certain won't make the playoffs? Oh,
well, certain. See, it's early right now because we've just started free agency. We still have months to go before training camp, so I can't say for certain outside of the obvious ones, which would be Philadelphia, Arizona, Montreal, teams that are going through rebuilds, Chicago. But outside of that, it is a tough call. So Dallas signed Steele 1 year, $850K.
Gibson to Pittsburgh is so perfect, it has to happen.
I mean, I could see that. And of course, Gibson has made it clear he would like to get traded. But it is not easy. A $6.4 million cap hit is reasonable for him, but it does mean that you need some finagling to make that work because a lot of teams are at the cap. And based on how teams are spending today, they're going to be right back at the cap again.
Bunting and O'Reilly are making the same. Wow.
Bunting is a solid forward who's in his late 20s. O'Reilly, late 30s, more of a support role, but I think they're hoping his defensive game bounces back. He did not have a good defensive season, especially his time in St. Louis. He had a rough time of it.
Who would be a good fit to replace Hellebuck as the starter in Winnipeg?
I don't know that anybody can actually replace Hellebuck. Hellebuck has been so good for so long. Basically, you'd be looking for a goaltender that can be either a young goaltender who can become a starter or hope that you can pick up somebody like what Mrazek has done at points in his career, that kind of a goaltender, sort of like Ronta in Carolina, a decent goaltender who can give you some good games. I don't think anybody ever replaces Hellebuck.
What kind of return do you think a trade involving Sam Girard would bring in?
Well, I don't think Girard's on the market. If he was, I would think you could probably get a decent return for him. I like Girard a lot. I think you could probably get a second and a prospect. You might be able to get a first, depending on which team you're dealing with. If they were looking for a forward back, you can probably get an NHL level forward back for him.
If Arizona does make the playoffs this year, would you actually be that surprised, considering Andre Tourney ability to squeeze wins out of that team without being a Mike Babcock?
I would still be very surprised. They were quite far below the playoff line. I don't think that the tandem of Vejmelka and Ingram is a playoff level tandem, and I think there's still a lot of holes in the lineup. It's designed that way. I think that they're slowly building things up, and I would expect them to be a little bit better this coming season than last year, but I still don't see a playoff team.
Have the Penguins done anything?
The Penguins have been relatively quiet, so this is the second board. On the first board, they show up with the signing of Nieto. So that's a depth signing right there. 2 years, $900,000 per season. Outside of that, it's been quiet.
Bunting, 3.5 cap hit. Good luck with that. Who will be in net for Detroit next season?
It'll be Husso. Husso, and then Reimer would be the backup.
Thoughts on the Leafs goaltending?
I mean, if Samsonov can continue the way he played this year, they're in okay shape. Murray, of course, has to stay healthy, but they've got Wall. And if Wall is going to be a good goaltender in the NHL, I think they're okay. I don't know if they have Stanley Cup level goaltending, but now, thankfully, with what Vegas did with Adin Hill, now you can just turn around and say, well, it doesn't matter because look what Adin Hill did, and that was kind of out of nowhere. So that'll probably be a narrative this year, too.
Thoughts on the Sens?
The Sens have been... I mean, they re-signed Brandstrom today. They go out, they get Korpisalo today. Outside of that, they've been quiet. Goaltending and just some defensive miscues here and there. That's issues that they had last season. If they're able to fix those, they should be a playoff team. They have the offense to get it done.
Shannon has lots and lots of whiteboards. Lots of whiteboards. There's 5 whiteboards.
5 there.
5 right there. We've got... 4, 5. I can see a few 10, there.
About 10 there. There's a couple more over there as well.
Lots of whiteboards. There's varying sizes of whiteboards.
I'm going through them this summer, and there's some that I need to replace.
It's about the time of year.
So
yeah, some have to
have to go because they've got scratches or dents or whatever. Sometimes they ship them with dents, which is nice.
That's the best.
Saves me having to dent it myself. So thanks.
We don't buy the whiteboards at Staples.
Nope, I go through Amazon. They're Viz Pro boards, and they go on sale regularly, so I'll buy them usually in packages of 2. Sometimes I order them if Yvonne says you don't need a whiteboard. I'll just order it.
Frequently.
You don't need any more markers.
You're good. Yeah.
I'll just order more markers. Thanks for reminding me.
That's definitely
like these ones here. These are Artelins. This is a new brand I'm using. Also, I've got Chocola ones that I just ordered and got that I've been using in videos too. I like finding different brands of marker and seeing which ones are the best because you have to have ones that show up nicely for the camera as well as erase easily.
He has lots of boards because he'll have lots of things going. So he will have boards prepared for other videos.
The black border,
especially the games, sometimes
the black borders are for recaps. I just have taken the tape off all of them. So during the off season, they're regular boards, but those are the ones I use for reviews and recaps. I think they look nicer.
3 of those.
Well, I usually have 3. I have 4 that I'll tape up for 5 game, and then 4 I'll tape up for 4 game boards.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
so I make sure that I've got enough boards. I never have to worry about not having boards the next night.
And then he's got power ranking boards, and then he has the bigger boards for the madness boards. Lots of he has to have different ones for doing different things.
During the summer, I usually have playlists going, so I'll get those boards ready the night before, so I can just rattle off the videos in the morning and get my work done early.
There you go. I appreciate not being bombarded with bet ads every 5 minutes.
No.
They're obnoxious, aren't they?
No, never. Not me. No.
Heard rumblings that the Penguins are interested in Ullmark if Bruins make the trade. What could they get for him?
Again, considering the Bruins cap situation, it makes me nervous because then you'd have Swayman as the starter. I like Swayman. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if I see him as a starter right now, and then you'd have to have a backup there as well. Kincaid went to free agency. So it's not like there's a lot of options for them at the backup spot either. I think a goaltender might have to go the other way, but would they want to Smith? Is there somebody else in the Pittsburgh organization they'd want? I don't know how that would work, especially if they're in on Carlson. I can't see them adding Eric Carlson and Linus Olmark.
Thoughts on inactive teams today?
The market's expensive. The market is a little pricey. I think there are teams who are sitting out that might be smart to do so and just save their cap space. Saving cap space is not a crime. Saving cap space is a really good idea if you're a general manager, because there are general managers right now that have spent themselves to the cap that will be calling those other managers and saying, so I have to get rid of somebody. I can't afford this. And then you can get somebody for a heck of a lot cheaper.
I haven't ever had to wash any of our pennants. We've never got them dirty.
No, I've never washed my pennants. I don't know how they do, because some of them are wool. So that'd be a nightmare.
Some of them are, but those would do better than the newer ones, which are really crappy, cheap felt. They really are. They're really cheap felt. So they are cheap felt. I know, but look at how thin they are. They are cheap felt.
Don't say that in front of them. You're going to ruin their confidence.
So if I was to wash them because something got on them, you're a perfectly
strong pennant, just like the rest of them.
I would first try to hand wash it. Do not scrub it at all. If you have to wash it, try and wash it from the backside, because felt it's not woven or knit together. It's basically just all the fibers are pressed together. So it can get fuzzy and look terrible really quickly, especially with the print on them. You could probably put it in a laundry bag and put it on a delicate cycle in the washer. You can iron them. Do not iron them on hot. Iron them from the backside because it will melt. It is a polyester felt.
It's okay.
But I've never had to wash
Benino goes
any
to the
of
Rangers.
our pennants.
So Benino's on the Rangers.
What are your thoughts on the Kings goalie tandem this year? I've noticed fans being pretty mixed. Sorry if I missed you talking about it.
Well,
earlier.
Talbot, see, the problem I have is Talbot's on the older side. Copley had a good run, but I don't know if he's NHL caliber over a full 82 game season. Yeah, I do have mixed feelings about LA's goaltending situation too. But I mean, Talbot had good numbers with Ottawa if you look at the advanced side of things. So maybe they figure, he's the right guy.
Shannon is looking pretty cute today. Agreed.
That's not a thing.
Where does Carter Hart go?
I don't think he's getting traded now. There hasn't been nearly as much talk about Carter Hart as what there was. I don't think he's getting dealt. I think he's staying in Philly.
You can soak felt. Yes. You just can't scrub it. You don't ever use a brush on it. You could use a cloth on it and very carefully dab it, but it falls apart. Well, not falls apart. It gets fuzzy. It gets fuzzy really easily. And since there's a print on top of the felt, it's really noticeable because of the print on it.
Okay, that 1 year too mine.
How much longer are we streaming? I would assume very much longer. Not.
Yeah, not much longer.
Often, or not very long from now. So
yeah, but don't worry, we'll be doing more live streams this summer. It is summer now, so we'll be doing, especially because we're gonna have kid free time. We'll be able to do more live streams and stuff.
Oh my gosh! I'm so excited. I mean, I love my kids, but oh my gosh! Speaking of washing, best way to wash hats: I throw them in the washer. I don't put them in the dryer. Just like jerseys, yeah. I don't put hats.
So after meetups is when my hats need it, because when I'm not doing videos, I generally don't wear a hat. I know that'll surprise people, but
those that do wear hats when you're when you're playing sports, they get that sweat line in it. If you wash it that day, it will not stain. If you leave it forever, it'll stain and it won't wash out. So throw your hat in the washer when you're washing your clothes. It comes right out, and then your hats look all beautiful.
Jimmy Schultz signs a 1 year extension with Seattle, league minimum. I would think probably a 2-way contract. That's for Coachella Valley.
If you have an older hat or a Michelin Ness hat, those are generally made of wool. don't wash them on hot, but I don't wash anything on hot anyways.
But generally don't wear those if you're going to be out all sweaty and running around.
Right.
I'm careful about which hats I bring to meetups.
Hats used to always be made out of wool. If you're wearing an older hat, an older style hat, they're usually made out of wool. So when it's wool, you want to watch what temperature you're washing in, but I don't ever wash anything on hot. You can also throw a hat in the dishwasher as well. That also works. But you can throw hats in the washer. I have washed so many hats in the washing machine. I just don't put them in the dryer. That's when they can get all bent and all wonky. Yeah, you don't ever put a jersey in the dryer. Never.
Okay, this one's 85% acrylic, 15% wool.
Right.
So acrylic and wool.
So then you just don't wash it on hot. Yep, you can wash your hats in the dishwasher, but I've never had trouble in the washer. If you have a hat that has wool on it, do not put bleach on it. I know sometimes they get the white, especially when they have the white under the bill or the inside, and you want to bleach it to clean it. Do not ever bleach your older wool hats. Bleach eats wool, and you will not have hat left.
And as delicious as it smells, don't drink bleach. I've only done it twice. And it was not a great experience.
Don't listen to Shannon. He has not ever done that.
See, she's saying don't listen to me.
It smells awful.
You're telling people to drink bleach.
I
cannot believe you're doing that. Telling people not to listen to me.
Anyways, yeah, don't throw your jerseys in the dryer. Don't do it. Never, ever. It will. No. It does. It really hurts the logos. It's really bad on the logos and some of the fabric.
I found that out as a younger man, a much, much, much younger man. With my Nordiques.
Especially the older jerseys, even the Adidas, they get kind of ripply.
The prime greens do tend to get a little more ripply than the logos before that. Like this is before the prime greens, and they're more bendy logos. The new ones aren't, and so
they get kind of bubbly, not bubbly like the old starter jerseys.
That's part of the reason why
those had batting.
That's part of the reason why now when I do meetups, I wear the jerseys with my name on them. Those are separate because I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have these jerseys, and then if something happens, the logo's all bubbly. It doesn't matter because I only wear it for meetups or for when we go on trips. I'll take those ones, and then the collection jerseys I use for videos, I don't have to worry about the state of them.
When will the Hockey Canada report be released? Super disappointed it wasn't before free agency. Pain fans deserve to know the findings.
I think it'll be sometime this month. I do think they'll make it public, and then it should be interesting to see what the fallout is from there. But yeah, I think it'll be public. So 2 minor signings for Buffalo. You've got Devin Cooley, goaltender, and Justin Richards, center, but they're 25 and 26 respectively, so not NHL projectable.
Dan Kingerski reporting Pens are close on Karlsson in a 3-team trade. That would be wild.
We'll see. It'd be very interesting to see what happens with the Penguins. They definitely feel that they're close to a Stanley Cup potentially if they get back in the playoffs. They think they can do something, and adding Karlsson could be huge. But I do wonder, I'll be interested to see how the money works and what's going back to San Jose in that deal.
Pens trade for Hellebuck?
They could. That's one of those places where Hellebuck would make a lot of sense. I do think that being American born, he might be more wanting to play in the States than say to play with another Canadian team. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to watch because Hellebuck should have a ton of value on the market right now.
Thoughts on the Leafs?
I don't know how I feel with the Reeves signing. I think they need more offense in their bottom 6. Maybe Nick Robertson gets a real shot this year, but they need offense from that bottom 6. They have to have it, and they've lost Bunting, so it's going to be interesting to see if Nyes can replace that production or what happens.
Have the Stars signed a defenseman?
A defenseman? Not yet. They've signed Sam Steele. They signed Matt Duchene as well. They traded Colin Miller, so they got rid of a defenseman. They did re-sign Hanley, so Hanley's not going anywhere. They signed Craig Smith, so they've got forward depth. They picked up forward depth today, but nothing on the blue line yet.
I feel like you're the only YouTuber willing to talk about the Sharks, so thank you.
Well, I talk about every team. It's important to me to talk about every team. Before I had the channel, I noticed there were some teams that just didn't get coverage, and I thought, it'd be nice to see every team covered as equally as possible, and so I try to do that. There's a ton of Canucks videos that I would love to do, but I don't want it to become a Canucks channel.
Has Hanifin been traded?
Nope, Hanifin's still a Flame right now. And it might be the best move for these teams to just wait until the smoke clears on free agency and then make the trades.
Any news on the Ducks?
For the Ducks, they just have the one signing, I believe, which is Gudas. I haven't seen them do anything else yet. But, I mean, the day is still relatively young. Maybe they'll have something up their sleeve later on.
How do you feel about the Bruins signings?
The Bruins signings are fine as depth moves, but this is a team that does not have center depth with the loss of Bergeron and Krejci, and that's my number one reason for looking at Boston as a team that could fall down in the standings next year.
I am a Jets and Wild fan. I also, of course, like the Canucks.
She's having her muffin.
Will the Canucks make the playoffs?
I still don't see them as a playoff team. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't really see them as a playoff team right now. But the team does. The team feels that they're close. They want to make the playoffs. Fingers crossed, hopefully. But at least they didn't trade their number 11 pick. I told Yvonne if they trade the number 11 pick, I will lose it in that live stream. They didn't. But I absolutely would have lost it if they traded that number 11 pick.
Shannon will be doing videos after this, so you will be able to see all these and hear about it, and he'll be able to make sure that what was wrote is what's going on, because sometimes we kind of hear different opinions on what the trades actually are.
The contracts, sometimes the number that comes out isn't 100%. So I will be using Cap Friendly, and I'll get everything all updated.
But there will be videos, so don't worry if you can't read everything on both of the boards and all of that. He'll do videos. The Stars roster is now absolutely stacked. Smith or Steele are going to be riding the bench now, with Duchene being a third-line center.
Steele, I think, on the fourth line should be fine. His play tailed off, though, last year towards the end of it. Smith, again, at $1 million, there's really no risk to that. He's not the player he was when he was a 25-goal scorer. But, again, as a depth signing, I don't think it's that bad of a move.
Vegas won't make the playoffs.
Well, I'm pretty sure they will.
That would be a surprise.
Pretty sure they will.
It?
Yeah, Studenic goes to Seattle. Oh, Glendening's not going back to Dallas. Glendening signs with Tampa Bay. I was kind of hoping that Dallas would find a way to hold on to him. I like Glendening. But they did make him a healthy scratch, so maybe they didn't like Glendening.
Are the Canucks wasting Demko's career?
No. I really don't think so. I think they're genuinely trying to get better. Demko is still young, so yeah, there's a lot of time there. Okay, so Glendening, 2 years.
And thank you very much for any coverage of the Sharks. Love our beat writer, but really appreciate a non-biased opinion.
No problem. So Glendening, it's $800,000 per season.
Why is the puck flat instead of a ball? Because ice.
Oh, a ball on ice would not work at all.
No. It's because of ice.
Yeah.
And how ice works.
And a puck, you can get real velocity on a puck. Once you learn to lift it off the ice, you can get real velocity on a puck.
Is DeBrincat getting traded to the Red Wings?
Possibly, but they're one of the numerous teams that are in on DeBrincat.
Yeah, ball on ice is bandy. What notable UFAs are left?
There's a lot of top guys that are still out there, but there isn't. And one thing I've said with this free agent class, there isn't a game breaker. There isn't somebody who's going to just change the destination for that team in the coming season. There's some good depth players. Even Duchesne, who's probably the headliner of this free agent class due to his buyout and being one of the better offensive players. I don't know if he's a second liner for Dallas this year. I don't see him as a first liner, obviously. But yeah, it's just one of those things.
Which insider is the best to follow?
I find Elliot Friedman to be the best one to follow of the insiders. Honestly, that would be my pick.
We are in Canada. Happy Canada Day. Goof. Reimer to Red Wings is a pretty good signing. Why did the Leafs need a new GM? I could do nothing. Can I be the GM?
They didn't do nothing. They got Reeves. They got Ryan Reeves, and I think that's the only move they've made today. I mean, they lost Hall, but for that cap hit, Toronto fans wouldn't have wanted Hall back. I think they'd be calling for Tree Living's head, and he just got hired.
Who's your favorite Letterkenny character? Rawld.
Yep.
He's great. Gail's awesome too.
Oh, Gaylor. Oh my gosh.
So funny.
I don't know how they keep a straight face with
Right?
Gail. But yeah, Squirrely Dan.
That's great.
Squirrely Dan. My favorite is when they're doing the ice fishing, that cold open there.
Oh yeah.
And they start saying everything
as
plural, shrimps and sashimis. And he's trying, he's like, it breaks his brain. That they're doing it to him.
Yep. Happy Canada Day.
Happy
Need
Canada
to go
Day.
find my children soon. They're watching the parade. Go take them to do other stuff.
Yes. So the live stream will go on for another 15 minutes, maybe, because it's 3 hours and 15 minutes we've been on.
My goodness, that's forever.
Nice long live stream for everybody. And now they're golfing on the TSN Free Agent Frenzy.
They really are golfing.
Jeff O'Neill's golfing. I could do that. Can we set up mini golf in here next year? I can just do mini golf. And you can tell people, because you can't see the floor, so you can just tell them I hit the hole in one every time. Every time. We can pretend that like I hit it upstairs too. We can have the boys make like
around the corner,
golf ball banging noises going up the stairs. And I could just barely bring my arms back and wow, that went so far. Just imagine if you used all of your power, and then that would give you an excuse to grope me, which is your favorite.
Okay. Detroit needs another goal scorer. Any thoughts?
I would imagine they should have been in on Pacioretty if they weren't. If they want a goal scorer, there are going to be some guys on contracts teams want to part with that they should be able to pick up. It's going to be an interesting year for Detroit, because Detroit, Buffalo, and Ottawa are all three of them are going to be under pressure to make the playoffs. So
pretend
one of
you're
them
curling.
has to.
You'd really get to see Shannon's legs if he was curling. Yes. Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
I don't know what's wrong with her. I don't know what her problem
is. Nice. Letterkenny got stale by season 2. Disagree. I really liked season 3.
There was the one year that it felt like they weren't episodes; they were just skits.
Yes, was that?
There was the one season it was just skits.
Season 5.
I think it was one of the more recent seasons, but we had wondered if COVID restrictions might have been part of it.
Yes,
where they had just 3 people here, 3 people here, and none of the storylines interacted at all, and they were just kind of like skits. But yeah, in general, I've enjoyed Letterkenny. This past season was good, and the episode they had for May 2-4 I thought was really funny. I thought that was well done with the Aussies and the New Zealanders going at each other. I thought that was really funny, especially since Squirrely Dan couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. He had no idea what's going on.
That was funny.
They're fighting with each other, and he's like,
what are they saying?
What are they saying? No, none of it. Doesn't understand any of it.
Helly for Gibson, thoughts?
As a 1-for-1, that'd be a fascinating trade, and you could justify that as a 1-for-1 because Gibson's younger than Hellebuck. I don't know if Gibson would want to go to Winnipeg. That is one thing that would be a question mark, but if he felt like he had a chance to win, he might be willing. The thing is, Hellebuck, to send him somewhere, that would kind of have to be a team that he wants to play with long term. You'd have to talk him into an extension if you're Anaheim as well.
What's curling? Oh, I love curling. Curling is kind of like darts on ice with, you're not throwing, you're sliding stones on the ice, but it's kind of like big darts, kind of. I like curling. I've always really liked curling. When I was little, I used to pretend curling in my driveway. Which analysts watch THG? Merrick definitely does.
You know, there's been times we're listening to NHL radio on Sirius XM.
Sometimes they will
and they'll say
Shannon
things and I say, that sounds like what I said in my video yesterday. Or there's little phrases I use in videos that it feels like end up.
Oh, there you go. Like
others.
Shuffleboard on ice. That's a good.
Yeah, it is. It is shuffleboard on ice.
Curling's fun though. Out of all the teams not making the playoffs this year, Hawks, Habs, Coyotes, etc., who wins the cup first, and how many years until they do?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, but we do frequently, when we're listening to hockey analysts and such talk, they will say Shannon things. And it's weird.
Yep. I haven't heard the War of 1812 yet, but I think
that would be really weird.
At some point in time, the War of 1812 has to be addressed. Has to.
Yeah, hurry.
That's the thing. I can't pretend I'm curling unless somebody's yelling hurry and way off. Way off. Whoa, way off.
Harder.
Hurry, hard. I used to drive my mother insane watching the curling.
Do you think the Caps will fix their top 6?
The Caps picking up Pacioretty is going to be huge. I think with them, I think the plan is going to be to try to find somebody to take on Kuznetsov and use that to retool the lineup a little bit. Sort of along the same lines as what Winnipeg did with Dubois with that trade to the Kings. But Kuznetsov, the trick is his contract is pricey and his production has dropped off.
When should we expect a Bunny Stanley Cup prediction video? You know, I tried that last year. It did not work.
I can try with Cinnabon.
You might be surprised to know, but rabbits don't cooperate very well.
Try with Cinnabon. We could do a playoff prediction by the rabbits.
All of the rabbits. I tried last year. I tried it with the rabbits. I tried it with the cats.
No, I think I've got a plan.
Did not work.
I've got an idea. I think I've got an idea that will
work. Didn't work. How's the weather? It's actually really nice. It's
been fantastic.
21 degrees, which is absolutely
It's been really nice.
Perfect.
It's been really, really nice. The weather's been great.
So it's nice and warm.
I do like the Canucks signing Bluger. I think the Canucks signing
perfect weather. It's great Canada Day weather today.
It is not as hot as it has been on some of the Canada Day.
Oh my gosh,
it's been 30 plus a lot.
Recent years we've had
we had all that hot weather in May.
We've had rain on Canada Day, or it's 30 degrees. It'll be one of the hottest days of the year. Always try it with guinea pigs. Oh, the guinea pigs might work. They will eat all day long. The pigs, they are the most demanding of all of our animals. They're kind of funny. If they see a human, food. True. I need food. But you have food right there, but they need more food. Happy Canada Day. How do you plan to celebrate? Our kids were at a pancake breakfast, and now they're at the parade, and then we'll go to the community events, do the fun things there, and then we'll go to fireworks later.
I'm going to be doing videos, and then I'll go to fireworks later.
Yep. Shannon does videos, and I take the kids to all the community things.
And she texts me about when they're not listening,
not
behaving.
I do.
Or when they walk off, she can't find them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Not that happens all that often or anything.
Like every single
just
time. Yeah, by the time I get to them, Gabriel's going to be exasperated because he's been in charge of Malachi for a bit. But Malachi should be okay because they're watching a parade.
True.
Love the stream, but I'm going to bow out and go watch Letterkenny. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're not going to be on the live stream that much longer anyways. So
we are in BC, Canada, in the Lower Mainland. Yeah.
We share a community with Farmer Girling, and it is just this magic.
Farming for love.
The
show is so bizarro.
The funniest part is
we go to
when
that
they show
farm.
the overhead, like every overhead they show.
Where are they?
It's not Abbotsford.
Yeah, where are they even looking at?
What? And because they try to make it look like that farm is out in the middle of nowhere, and it really isn't.
No.
It's close to like an industrial part of the city, and it's not in the middle of nowhere, but they frame it to make it look like it's a farm. It's out in a remote location. It really isn't. Really isn't. So
it's a weird
yeah.
show.
But now our city has someone famous, Farmer Girling. If I ever see her, I'll have to ask for her autograph.
There's a lot of well-known people from Abbotsford.
I'll have to ask for her autograph if I ever
There's
go out there.
There's a lot of well-known people from Abbotsford. So.
And just probably get a really bizarre look of why.
It's such a weird show.
It is. It's a bizarre show.
Such a weird
Farming
show.
for Love, the Canadian version.
So weird.
And it gets so Canadian.
It is ridiculous.
Very Canadian.
All of the Canadian dating reality shows are super Canadian and just so weird.
Canadian Bachelor in Paradise.
It's
so
the wind
funny.
And all the bugs, and you can tell they're freezing.
They're all wrapped up in blankets. They're all like, I'm like, yeah, that looks like paradise to me. Just
all the bugs.
Sea of bugs, and they're just wrapped up.
Favorite Canadian musician? Well, if you go with band, 3 Days Grace.
Alanis Morissette.
She's great too. Our Lady Peace is good. Different music than I generally listen to, but I really like Our Lady Peace as well.
Yeah, I can't think of one that I prefer to Alanis Morissette from a Canadian perspective.
3 Days Grace. They're my favorite. Oh, Bryan Adams. I might have listened to a lot of Bryan Adams when I was younger. I think everybody listened to a lot of Bryan Adams. Yeah. Nickelback is awesome. I like Nickelback. I didn't get to go to the concert the other day because they're way too expensive. The kids really wanted to go, but way too expensive. Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah, it's sad that he passed.
Tragically Hip. I know they're huge. They're not
one of my favorites.
My music, but
they're not one of my
some
favorites.
of the songs are good. Avenged Sevenfold is great. Yeah, I really like Avenged Sevenfold.
Yes. Agreed.
We were supposed to go to one of their concerts several years ago, but then it got canceled. And that was sad because I was really excited to see them in concert. I hope they come back one day.
Oh, Pack AD. Pack AD.
Pack AD is great. If you've never heard of them, they're from Vancouver.
Yep, they're very good. Dollhouse is one of my absolute favorite songs.
Yep, they are great. So look them up.
So
they're awesome. We've seen them live twice. They're very fun.
Nemesnikov goes back to Winnipeg. Brossois goes back to Winnipeg.
Oh,
there you go.
There we go. Good.
So there's a backup goalie. So Delia becomes the number 3.
Oh, Men Without Hats. We were talking about them just yesterday.
They were on yesterday, yeah.
Yeah. And Shannon was telling me they're a one-hit wonder in the States. Is that true? I didn't know about this. Sometimes we don't realize like what we hear isn't the same as in the States. And so sometimes we've got Canadian bands that are really popular here and they're not as known in the States. And that's always kind of throws me off. Oh, only Safety Dance. See, you guys are missing out. Rush. I know Rush is huge. That's not really my thing either.
No, I've never been a huge Rush fan.
Celine Dion. She's national treasure.
You can't say her name in an angry tone. Especially in the province of Quebec.
Oh, what is your favorite Dream Theater song or album?
Oh, what's the album that we have? I'm trying to remember now. Because we have one of their albums.
We do.
Okay, Ryan Donato goes
Nickelback
to Chicago.
Is great. I really like their Feed the Machine album. That one's really good.
So
Everybody does not like Rush. Jets need to go back to the old logo. I do really like the old logo. I do like the current one as well. But I do like their old logo, and I think it would be really fun if they did a reverse retro in red with the old logo. I think it could look cool.
But they're not doing any more reverse
Trivium
retros.
is awesome. We have seen them in concert, and they were really good.
They were. Yeah, although,
I do really like Trivium.
The one thing with Trivium Live, the lead singer sticks his tongue out so much.
He does.
It gets kind of ridiculous.
Gosh,
where you're like, okay, so
a lot.
Is he trying to look cool up there? It's somebody taking pictures constantly. It's kind of weird. The whole concert, he's got his tongue sticking out. It's like Shadow, but like human form.
Shannon is definitely not from Winnipeg.
Nope. Malcolm Subban signed by the Blues. So's Mackenzie McEachern, Josh Jacobs, and Walt Kalanick. So there you go. Blues get some stuff done. Stu Nietzsche is going to Seattle as well. But again, those aren't really NHL like big name moves. So
we are going to the Volbeat Hailstorm concert, and I'm super excited.
I cannot miss Lizzie Hale. If Lizzie Hale is going to be anywhere near where I am, I cannot miss her.
I wanted to go before they announced that Hailstorm was opening. I was excited about.
I was kind of on the fence.
They're fun.
I was like, well, I'll buy tickets. Yvonne wants to go see Volbeat,
because
fine.
They're fun.
And then I saw Hailstorm, and I was like, okay, so we're getting good tickets.
I sent him the thing when they announced that. I was like, oh, but look.
Yeah. I was like, all right, so I got us really good tickets. So yeah, got that done immediately.
Any thoughts on further moves for Tampa? Any idea who they get back up to back up Bassey?
Maybe they feel like Alnefelt is ready. Like Alnefelt's there in the minors. Maybe they go that route. One thing we've seen with goaltenders, especially again, the Vegas example comes up. There's definitely a lot of goaltenders who can play in the NHL who are not currently in the NHL. If you're looking for a backup to Vasilevsky, you're looking at a guy who's going to play about 20 games a year. You don't have the same amount of pressure. So maybe they look to get somebody from within to come up, especially with their cap limitations. But they'll be able to add somebody for cheap if they don't.
Hollywood Undead, by far favorite band. Thoughts
I love Hollywood Undead.
Them. For me, it really depends. They have some good songs, and then they have songs that I really don't enjoy.
Oh, I love Hollywood Undead. I think they're great.
They're kind of hit and miss.
Especially their first song, Undead. Their first hit song, Undead. That song is great.
They have a couple songs on their newest.
There's some really good music on there. She doesn't like the ones that are more rap. She likes the ones that are more rock.
That's right.
So she's more geared towards the ones that are rock. I don't care because I'm a fan of both rap and rock.
Favorite Tool album?
Lateralis. It's not close.
Probably
Lateralis and then 10,000 Days. And then Lateralis and then Enema and then 10,000 Days. And then the newish one, Fear Inoculum. And then probably Opiate.
He just says this because he knows that I really like Undertow.
Undertow's
you don't
just
like
beneath
Opiate at all. Have you ever even listened to the whole thing?
Okay, so I would have Undertow.
Don't listen to Shannon. He's a horrible judge for this. My answer is yes. But
Danko Jones is
I
good.
listened to a lot of Undertow and Enema and Opiate in high school,
Lateralis over 10,000 Days any day of the week for me. Sadly, McGillney will never get inducted because of his nationality.
Everybody would agree with that.
He will at some point in time. McGillney will get inducted, just not yet. But I don't know why he wasn't inducted before now. He should have been inducted pretty early in his eligibility.
Deftones are great.
Yeah.
Whenever Shannon likes Deftones.
If you're a fan of Deftones,
don't even start.
If you're a fan.
Nope. Don't start. Okay.
I'm just saying.
What do you think the Wild do with Gustafsson when Wallstedt comes up?
Well, when Wallsted's ready, that's where Fleury should be transitioning out. So you could have a tandem of Gustafsson and Wallstedt. Gustafsson by then should be the relatively veteran of the two. It's going to be interesting in Minnesota because, of course, they do have the cap issues. So once Fleury's contract's off the market or off the books, having Wallstedt come in at a cheap contract really helps them going forward.
Do you like Lincoln Park? Yes.
Love Lincoln Park.
I've seen them in concert. One of our boys really likes Lincoln Park.
Yep, still the first one.
Could the Canucks get another goalie like Rittich?
I'd rather not go after Rittich. And I say that as somebody that I really liked Rittich in Calgary. I really thought he had potential, but the last 3 years, it's not been great for him. So I would not. I don't see him as a backup. Again, the Canucks envision themselves as a playoff team this coming year. I don't know that Rittich would get him there. I don't think he does.
Love the tool, love the channel, love your content. Do you guys like Pussifer?
Yes, of course
we do.
Of course, they're the one album there I've got memorized all the way through. It seems like that, anyways. Trekka is like their best song, and Sour Grapes is great. That's the one where Maynard's the preacher. That one's absolutely just a fantastic song. That one, and when I'm on the treadmill, that song absolutely works for me. I absolutely love it.
I am not a huge fan of Killswitch Engage, though.
I love Killswitch Engage.
Really don't.
We have one of their albums.
Not. Do you like Offspring? Yes.
She does.
I really like Offspring.
I mean, their 10-minute concert was okay.
That's Shannon's. Nope.
The 6 hours of ska music before they came out was
really like Offspring. So
Sublime was just, if I could go back in time and do it all over again, I don't know if I would have been in there for the Sublime part. I might have just gone and done something else, and just it goes on forever, and it's all the same.
So the second Offspring concert, I didn't go with Shannon.
Nope.
Because I was tired of hearing him whine about it. So
I was like, oh well, enjoy that 10 minutes of Offspring. They just come out and they fumble their way through songs and don't know the words. And I'm sorry, that was the Cult.
I was like, that's not that concert. We have been to concerts where they don't know the lyrics.
Ian Astbury, the lead singer of the Cult, when he was getting words wrong for Firewoman, and I just lost it. She could hear me losing it, where I'm like, seriously, got the words wrong to Firewoman, their number one hit ever. Oh my gosh, he's making up new words. This is so dumb.
With all the Cats defense signing, who drops from top 6?
That won't be a problem until the guys who got hurt during the playoffs come back. So they may not have to make a decision until November, and they may end up trading somebody. So maybe instead of moving somebody down, once everybody's healthy, you look and you make a trade.
How many times have you heard Stairway to Heaven? Lots.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I'm a Zeppelin fan. I'm not a huge fan of Stairway because it got overplayed so much in the 80s. I'm not a huge fan of Stairway. It's a very well written song. It's very well put together from start to finish. But to me, Kashmir is easily the best song from Zeppelin.
Do you like Rob Zombie?
He was fun live.
He was really good live, and I wasn't a huge Rob Zombie fan, but he was really good.
He saved the night for us. He saved that night for us. Because Marilyn Manson was
so disappointing. Yeah, that has to be one of the most disappointing concerts.
Yep.
Other than Breaking Benjamin, that was really disappointing too, because you couldn't even understand them. But Marilyn Manson, that was disappointing.
Yeah, that was very disappointing.
Stick to hockey on this channel.
We generally do. I have a jersey on. But if people ask questions during live stream, we generally answer them, and it tends to kind of meander. This started years ago, and it's sort of a hallmark with the channel.
When we're talking for 3.5 hours, we get to talk about other things if we want. So
how did you betray? Oh,
my beautiful Vegas cup.
We are headed to Vegas too.
I like my Vegas cup, and then I also have my fun Arizona cup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm all done my drink.
All the hockey cups.
But anyways,
that's why I had 2 cups, because I knew that I would run out of tea, and then if I don't have something to drink, I lose my voice. Are you Beatles fans? Yes.
She's a very, very big Beatles fan.
Beatles are great.
But anyways, we should get going because we're over 3.5 hours. You do want to make sure that the boys are.
Somebody else agrees.
Everything else.
Marilyn Manson live. Disappointing.
Very, very disappointing.
Appreciate your time.
Appreciate you coming out too.
Sorry if we didn't answer your questions. There
very busy today. Very busy today.
Thousands of people on here, and I can't read everybody's questions.
Yep.
Sorry.
But anyways, I will be doing videos between now and the end of the day, of course. And in the coming days, as all these free agents get signed or don't, there's going to be some that probably don't. But that always makes things interesting too. So thanks, guys, for coming out. And we will do this again soon. It is summertime. Like I said, we're going to have time without the kids. And we're going to be able to do live streams here and there. So, yeah, that'll be fun. And looking forward to seeing you when that takes place. We will try to make sure there's plenty of warning on the channel as well as when they're coming.
Me try.
But, yeah, thanks, guys, for coming out. And we will do this again.
Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day.
Oh, favorite Beatles albums. Lots of them.
White Album.
I really like Rubber Soul, though.
Oh, okay.
I do really like White Album, but I like Rubber Soul as well.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everybody.